sooner around.
Alright, looks like we're starting now. Looks like we're starting with the Shadow Medallion. Or Spirit Medallion.
Spirit Medallion.
I am just a tiny bit colorblind.
I mean, we have all the players going straight into Mido's house.
Guy, that's always a really hard question to answer. It can take anywhere between 2 to 4 hours. We've seen as much as 5, as about a little as an hour and a half. With no item or wrong warp, it really depends on the placement of the items, and then of course the skill of the runners. But that's something you really can't answer not even a minute into the match.
I like how the Mido's house was basically symmetrical when it comes to the items there. There were 2 blue rubies on the same side, and there were 2 Skulltule tokens on the same side.
Yeah, definitely getting a lot of rupees early on. Not gonna need much use for that for the rupee rep. Yes, Jimmy Hat. I believe you're talking about Spirit Tracks, which is actually one of my favorite. Not my overall favorite, but probably one of my favorite Zelda games. I thoroughly enjoy it, and it's a blast from me. Even though it wasn't that long ago, it just was probably, I don't know. I was young when I played that. Probably, I don't know, nothing. I don't know, but yeah, I really enjoyed Spirit Tracks. Looks like we're both gonna get some DQ sticks, and Emily's gonna grab a shield. Can't quite buy bomb cheese yet, but
Definitely one of the first things you want to buy once you get rupees right away. Looks like we already have a route divergence. MikeKatz is heading to the Deku Tree while Emily's heading out of the forest into Hyrule Castle.
Deku Tree is always really a big gamble, but it has paid off quite a time and time again for runners in different races. It really just depends on if you don't find anything good there, then it's just kind of a waste of time. There's a couple of checks. You know, there's not an abundance of checks, but all of them are Spear Zero, or most of them. With one requiring... No, I think all of the checks... I don't remember the logic for Deku Tree. I think all of the checks... The actual checks, or tests, don't require Slingshot.
Everything except for Goma Heart Container doesn't require anything. Except for the Slingshot chest, you need a shield to get there, but you can just buy a shield once you have money.
So, not quite Spear Zero, but practically. Slayer, my favorite game of all, is pretty much tied between Twilight Princess and Ocarina of Time. I love the story and the ingenuity of Ocarina of Time, but I absolutely love the art style, and as well as the story of Twilight Princess. Still just a lot of rupees from MikeKatz45 and Deku Tree. Emily's gonna try her hand at Shooting Gallery.
Yeah, I don't think going to Deku Tree, I think 9 times out of 10 you'll be going to Deku Tree most seeds.
It's an easy dungeon, you might as well get it out of the way for sake of, just getting checks.
And it's relatively faster than most of the other dungeons.
Deku Tree and Dodongo's Cavern, usually people complete every seed, no matter what.
Yeah.
Emily immediately gets trolled with Child Shooting Gallery. That's a Monka S. Emily, just kind of figuring out that you can't buy bomb chews until you have either found bomb chews or found a bomb.
Yeah, that's to prevent getting easy access to bomb chews, like from the.
Which would basically take explosions out of any logic. You know, the bomb bag could be placed anywhere, assuming bomb chews are in logic, which is true for this setting string. Everything that requires explosive would immediately be in logic, which would open up so many chests.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be very difficult to follow logic. Speaking of bomb chews, MikeKat's got bomb chews in map. Is that map or compass? I don't
That
remember.
is the compass chest.
Compass. Man, I've been playing Randomizer so long, I started to forget vanilla.
Yeah, the map chest is in the lobby. Speaking of the map, and the compass chest is on.
That's right. Yes. So some interesting things about the setting string. We don't actually have a. I don't think we have a command for it. At least we didn't the last time I commentated. Some interesting things about the setting string is that the size of the chest matches its content. So if it's a big chest, it's going to be a major item. If that's stuff like bomb chews, for example, like this one is a big chest, and so it should have something major. I put that in air quotes, even though you can't see it. As well as gold sculptures and dungeons are randomized. So normally that sculpture right there that MikeKatz is getting would give you something, a gold sculpture token, but in this seed with this setting string, it gives you a compass and a piece of heart, stuff like that.
That's a very interesting sub that MikeKatz did to the jump slash. Blue fire right off the bat.
Yeah, that'll be nice. That I believe that gives him a bottle, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And Weird Egg is shuffled, so that's something we don't typically see in something like an accessible race.
Yeah, and since Mike has bomb chews early, he can actually sequence break straight into Zelda without having to find the Weird Egg. But however, you do need the Weird Egg to open up the song in Long Line Rant.
As well as Chicken Game.
Yeah.
And we're just passing time, I guess. Gonna go check out Richard.
Thankfully, the Skulltula in the back of Deku Tree is just a Skulltula token. If it was a major item, you would have to see some crazy hover.
Yeah, either see a crazy hover or just come back with either as adult if that's their thing, or just with Boomerang as child.
As adult, you would need either a bow or a fire source to get anywhere further to the Deku Tree base.
Well, you could always equip Sop.
Oh yeah, you could, but
I guess Emily's playing on, or Mike is playing on.
Yeah, but with this rule set, Deku 6 as adult is banned specifically because it's a version exclusive glitch.
Gotcha. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but they start with since at the light arrow, or not the light arrow cutscene, the prelude cutscene. Wait, hold on. What am I saying? I should think before I speak. The first time you go adult, you get the light medallion, and since all medallions are randomized, they start off with a random medallion or stone, and this one is randomized to be Spirit Medallion.
Yeah, and it was originally programmed for the randomizer to automatically start you with the light medallion, so that way it can skip it skips the cutscene when you first pull the Master Sword. Slingshot behind Goma.
Second logical slingshot before you got the first one. That's kind of funny. And it is a stone dungeon, so Not too much the good came from Deku Tree, but
I mean,
that
hey,
will be handy to get out. Yeah, I guess explosives is something big, but how many separate checks have explosives? I know, so 3 bomb bags, and I'm not sure how many bomb two checks.
I know that there's. Let me think. There's a 20 in Vanilla Ganon's Castle. There's a 10 in Vanilla Spirit Temple as Child. There is a 10 in Bottom of the Well. A 5 in GTG. Those are the only... Actually, there's probably more, but those are the only ones I remember from the top of my head.
Yeah,
so they were all 5 speedrun routes.
So about 10-ish checks, I guess. So there are quite a few of them. I mean, if there were 10 Megaton hammers, that'd be great, but...
Alright, and so since Mike has explosives early, it gives more of an incentive to do his South Herald checks.
Especially since in this setting stream, bomb twos are in logic, meaning that anything that would have required bomb bag and say like accessible rule set can be accessed in logic with. $40 gold skull is now known as useless information. And
speaking
Mike
of
got
the hammer,
yeah, mega hammer, man.
Guys, see an equip swap. There we go. Alright, hammer as Child is so broken in Glitch Randomizer. It's so...
Oh, yeah, incredibly. Emily got the setup list. That's interesting.
Unfortunately, I don't know how equip swap works that well in order to give a proper explanation for it.
I know, I have a basic understanding. My understanding of it is, hold on, let me mark the bottle really quickly. My understanding is that for 1 frame, so the way you do equip swap is you put your cursor on an item in the menu screen, and then you use R or Z to flip to another complete menu screen, and you hit R or Z to go back to the menu screen you were just on, and for 1 frame, it still registers your cursor being over that item on the equip screen, and you can actually, and it doesn't check to see if you're adult or child and can, my stream is frozen, and can equip that.
And it's 1 frame out of 30 frames per second, because usually in gameplay, OT runs in 20 FPS, but the pause screen actually runs in 30 FPS. So equip swap is even harder than a normal frame perfect trick in game would be. And you can't pause buffer it.
Yeah, you can't pause buffer. MikeKatz decides to do the opener in Gerudo Valley. Nothing really good there.
Sacred Forest Battle on the Way of the Hero. So that could be either 2 of the songs as child or adult, or it could be the Hidden Grotto. It's likely going to be the songs, though. If I'm going to take a guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a guess and say that maybe ZL might be there.
I'm going to say Song of Storm.
That's a good one. That would be really nice, preferable over ZL, because Song of Storms has less checks that then Way of the Hero item could be behind. So that would be preferable, but
Interesting to see Mike going, oh god, water temple on the Way of the Hero. That is the last thing you want to see when doing Glitch Randomizer.
Especially since all the dungeon gold Skulltulas could have that item that might be Way of the Hero.
Yeah.
Which just makes it even harder to get to. The river chest, gold Skulltulas. Oh god.
Enabling dungeon token sanity was a mistake.
Actually, I believe the racers voted on the rule set.
They did. They just haven't realized the pain of having Water Temple Way of the Hero more often.
Sadly, yeah, there's not a whole lot of checks in Water Temple, but they're all very spread out and have a lot of logical requirements to get to them, which makes Water Temple a pain to deal with in any seed that requires Water Temple. MikeKatz opting not. Did he already check Boulder of Destiny?
He did not. He's probably gonna go there as a. Oh, actually, no, he's gonna go there right now.
I guess he's going for. I don't know what he's going for. Maybe Castle by Night?
Yeah, I think he was skeptical because of the time. Then he later on realized that he would have enough time. Unfortunately, it's a Skulltula token. Made it just in time for night, so
Gonna go get Richard.
Doesn't have to wait for that much. But unfortunately, he's gonna skip the. Well, not unfortunate because Slingshot minigame doesn't really have anything. But it might mind game him after a while if he puts it off for too long. Wait, this is a thing?
Yeah, so Ocarina of Time and development didn't take the Wind Waker approach to doing collision and didn't raise their collision infinitely high up for walls and stuff. And so using those boxes, typically I believe the strategy is jump slash. You can jump slash into that loading.
Yeah, it's a common strat to get into the Bazaar's Night, but I wasn't aware that it was that it was possible to get into the shooting gallery. My cat is opting to go to adult early instead of sequence breaking the Zelda, so this is an interesting play. Hammer was in one of the grottos in southern Hyrule. Emily eventually realizing that she needs the Song of Impa to activate Zarya's song.
Is it Impa's song or is it? I guess it really doesn't matter. Yeah, I've definitely run into that issue with randomizers before. You know, because in normal gameplay, you never have to, worry about that. You always have that.
Also, Mike isn't checking the Altar of Time, which is interesting.
Yeah, neither of our racers have done that. I believe the last race that MikeKatz did, he forgot and then had to go back about where he was right now in Hyrule Field. Kind of realized, and with that.
So I assume Mike is doing this to burn time of day, because you want to be daytime to get the check from the Cuckoo Lady in CAC.
Mm-hmm. As well as maybe buy a shield from the bazaar.
Yeah. Oh, you could clip in when it's night.
True, but you could always just kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, true.
But to kind of speak on MikeKat's part, that is a fairly useful or efficient way to waste time a day. Just go check something that you can't necessarily get, but you can see. That was a pretty good thinking on MikeKat's part. Doesn't look like anything too good from the Center Grotto and CAC.
Well, he's got another heart. He was in critical health.
I'm sure Mike is glad to be alleviated from that.
Reminder to always buy a shield.
I know there was a big debate again about this in the ZSR Discord of team no shield and team always buy a shield. I can safely say that I am definitely team always buy a shield.
Yeah, don't listen to those heathens. I'm joking, but
ooh, Emily finding her first logical bomb bag.
Yo.
Something I definitely need to practice for randomizers is bomb chew bowling minigame. I'm horrible at it. Like I know the setups, but I always undershoot or overshoot. Mike finding ZL at I don't remember this guy's name. the windmill check, I guess.
That makes it really good for routing, so that way he can check the composer grave right away.
How's that, August? I adjusted Emily's audio. Guru. That's the name. Thank you.
Alright, so usually, when bypassing the guards, you usually see people doing a jump slash on top, but that is best to do during night because the guards have worse line of sight at night. So instead, ooh, hover boots.
Nice. I need to refresh my stream.
Alright, free seed.
Getting
the game's broken wide open.
Yeah, basically, getting explosive hover boots and hammer this early is really, really good for Mike. Cool.
But as I was saying, since the guards have a better line of sight in the daytime during night, then the strategy you want to go for is a seam walk that you saw Emily do. It's a bit faster than going around.
I also don't think does glitch settings skip child stuff?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. And that's why Emily's killing time.
I hope she doesn't accidentally backflip off of the crawl space location. That's my biggest fear. So in OT Randomizer, usually the most useful items that you want to get are bomb bag, hookshot, bow, maybe. Yeah, bomb bag and hookshot are the two most useful. Oh no. That's tragic.
Does crawling through that crawl space set the flag of the boxes being moved? Because I noticed that, you know, she didn't move talent because she doesn't have a weird egg, but the boxes were definitely moved.
Yep, that's a thing that happens.
Is that rando exclusive, or is that just something I just learned today?
No, it's a vanilla mechanic.
Interesting. MikeKatz trying to use a method where you roll and then see up on a frame in the roll animation, and your camera will glitch into the wall and you can actually see what's in that crate. Kinda got texture block there. It doesn't work as well as adult, but it still does work. MikeKat's gonna opt to, I believe. It looks like is he gonna bomb shoot hover?
I think so. I missed what was in the crates. It might have been something important.
And everybody, we now have Ryan joining us to commentate. Me and Apache are gonna have to go here in a little bit, and Ryan will be filling in. But we thought we'd just add him in here for now, and so yeah.
Hello, everyone.
Ryan, you would think that they've gotten sick of hearing our voices by now, don't you think? Me and you?
Oh no, our dulcet tones will never get old, don't worry.
Okay.
I've got to get the commentary stream refreshed here anyway, so no worries.
Oh my god, that camera.
Hook shot.
Okay, it was a hook shot.
Alright. So MikeKatz now has hover boots, megaton hammer, explosives, and hookshot.
Free seed.
Absolutely.
That's pretty much go mode for glitched randomizer.
I gotcha.
But it really depends on what medallion dungeons are required. So depending on what dungeons you need, sometimes you need the hammer, sometimes you need the boomerang, and sometimes you need mirror shield. Those just don't go away.
Yep, I don't think neither of our runners have checked pedestal, so we still don't know what temples are required or what dungeons.
Yeah.
Prelude, a little bit of a time saver, kind of quality of life thing. My cat's gonna opt to Shim, it the first time I watched MikeKatz do something, I think it was ZSR he was on for the accessible race, but they were commenting on him. I always heard MikeKatz. I relate to that.
So we haven't gotten to see what is required yet on this seed, have we?
No, we haven't. We just know that Deku Tree is a stone. So is Mike gonna opt to go to DC?
I mean,
I don't know if he knows. He doesn't have strength and he doesn't have a bomb bag, so it makes me wonder if he knows how to fight King Dodongo with just bomb shoes.
I know, I don't.
I don't either.
Yeah, I've seen it once or twice, and it's an incredibly difficult strat that I think like only bingo runners really like try and learn.
Yeah, and I know MikeKatz is a bingo player, but I'm not sure if it's something he's taking the time to learn or not. But looks like he's not going to DC. He's gonna wait until he finds strength or bomb.
Man, I just keep learning things today. Always a good day to learn something.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm surprised he didn't go do Bombchu bowling. I'm assuming he picked him up when he was there, so maybe he just doesn't realize that it gives him access. Maybe it's something easy to slip your mind if you've just played normal rando.
I lied, he is going to DC. I'm sorry.
Sadly, commentators do not give access, or are not given access to the runners' minds.
No.
It'd make for really good commentary, though. But yeah, especially since Bombchu Bowling holds bomb bag, Mike is definitely gonna want to go there.
Alright, so 30 skulls is dead.
Yep, that makes 50, 40, and 30. So maximum amount is 20 at this point. Dense fire.
Makes me wonder if Shadow Temple is required.
With having hover boots and dense fire, Shadow Temple is most definitely required.
Yeah, I mean, we have everything we need to get pretty much all the way through it. We just don't have logical access to it yet, but, you know, heck logic.
Emily got trolled by fishing. Always sad.
Yeah, fishing is absolutely the bane of my existence. I turn it off like in a lot of my free seeds just because I just don't want to bother with it.
Unfortunately, I've done fishing way too many times.
It's a nice use of a bomb chew there by MikeKatz just to check the Skulltula over the staircase in case he needs to come back. But you can see that it's a blue rupee, it looks like, so don't have to worry about that this season.
Oh man, that one gold Skulltula has trolled us so many times here on the Glitch tournament.
Well, he does have bomb chews and hover boots, so it's not too bad. Because he could just do the old 100% strat where he can just do a hover boost there. But yeah, it's Skulltula that's really easy to forget.
Yes, definitely. And I think there are also some other strategies, considering that he does have hookshot.
He also has a bottle, so he could use that bottle to get a fairy, do a trick called hookshot jump, and do Dodongo's cavern in reverse. And that makes it a lot easier to get access to that Skulltula because the staircase is raised.
Yeah, Andy doesn't have double defense. 'Cause I know. I think it was you or XO.
It was me. It was me.
Yeah, that was incredibly troll.
Oh my god. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, I remember that one. That one was,
It was so disappointing too, because like I was having, oh, this is gonna be a big burn strat. I'm gonna do hookshot jump, and I realized once I start taking damage, oh no, I have double defense. It's gonna take forever. So it just crossed my soul. It just crushed my soul.
I think you managed to pick it up on like second or third try though, so it's not awful. But yeah, it was just like I know I wouldn't be able to just improvise that.
Emily grabbing her Megaton hammer.
Mike keeps picking up small chests here. I'm assuming he's just trying to farm Skulltula tokens. Because normally, I mean, he has bomb chews, and that's the only other thing I think that can pop up in a small chest.
I thought bomb chews. I don't know.
He's doing it mostly for safety, for health and rupees for the most part. Because early on, you want to look for health and for hearts and rupees.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, if you forget to collect some of those small chests, gain some health, you could, end up finding Ganon and realize, wait a minute, I have 3.
Thankfully, a Bloopy in the Scarecrow Skulltula.
Nut upgrade.
You gotta love the nut refill. It just makes things so nice.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since he's running on bomb chews right now, and so just being able to like instantly explode those just speeds some things up, makes things a lot easier.
It's definitely gonna help for Volvagia if he puts off finding the bomb bat. Plus the bomb tree deck and
Yeah, I would say chances are with him being adult right now, he's not going to go child again for a long time unless he needs to go clear some dungeons. And even then, you can still, if you really wanted to, you could do Jabu as an adult.
Right. So Emily's opting to clear Nightcack, and do Dampe right away. So let's see how that pans. Looks like she's going for Skulltulas. See if there's anything important behind there.
I think that this extended like sword effects is the greatest use of ISG to me in this entire like randomizer. It's just you can run around with like this lightsaber trailing behind you, and it's just so cool to watch.
No, Emily showed the letter. She did the same mistake I did.
No, it's not in logic, Emily.
Meanwhile, Mike is getting trolled by the keys, trying to do the switch trick.
At this point, it just would have been faster to...
Switch trick is a stupid trick.
It's ridiculously precise.
It's fast once you get a first try, but once you fail it, you just keep failing it over and over. And you just, like, it just snowballs.
I also do believe that there is a method to do it with the D-pad. Oh, and there's magic. Shadow's definitely an object required.
Mike just farming around for that one spot that you can hammer down there, and he's gonna drop into here, so he either knows how to do this or doesn't realize that he can't do it. Either way,
He probably knows how to do it. I believe in Mike.
Yeah, I'll give him a benefit of the doubt. Don't try to grab that bomb flower. Okay.
yeah. So he gets a bomb jump, I think, stored on there, and then he's just gonna jump up into the bomb or jump up into his mouth with a bomb shield.
That's how you do it. Oh my god.
Alright.
That's so simple. Okay, I'm gonna learn that for next.
awesome. Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, the ground jump gives adults the height needed to put a bomb chew into King Dodongo's mouth.
Yeah, and it looks so simple. Like it's like something like Link should just normally be able to do, but I guess they don't bother programming that kind of stuff into games. Try to program a vertical jump would break the game.
Unfortunately, as a child, you have to do like extra hovers, so it's a lot harder as a child.
Emily sees her first logical hook shot. Can't quite get it at this point.
She has bomb bag though, and she can honestly just go run over and pick up some beans. Pick up the beans that you need for maybe the rest of the seed, because we don't know what's maybe at in Death Mountain Crater or over in Desert Colossus. But overall, it feels like a lot of the child routing, besides the bomb bag, hasn't necessarily yielded anything particularly useful. Besides also a slew of heart containers.
Looks like Mike is gonna go head into Shadow Temple. Without Nocturne, he's gonna... Yo, he's gonna do the old setup.
Haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah. Throwback Thursday. I mean, I don't think I'm prepared to explain that one.
Okay, so how it works. Basically, like multiple tricks are happening at once. You get Infinite Sword Glitch first. And that is to prevent Link from falling back down once you get the Super Slide Teleport. And the way the Super Slide Teleport works is if you Super Slide off of a bush and you don't have a Strength upgrade, Link's Z axis resets back to the bush's location. But actually, that's a lie. His X and Y axis are reset, but his Z axis isn't reset. So he gets the height from the slope, resets his position from where the bush is, and uses that to gain height. and with Infinite Star Glitch, that's basically a hover. So he uses that to get onto the scene.
For those of you not familiar with which axis is which, or have played Minecraft and have been misguided, the Z-axis is up and down, Y-axis, X and Y-axis are actually left and right. For some reason in Minecraft it is built sideways, and so the Y-axis is up and down, and I know I get a lot of questions about that, so occasionally I get a question.
Yeah, so MikeKatz is taking the sign that he's going to have to go through Shadow Temple. Emily's going to go run up Sora's River and probably just use the cuckoo to float in behind King Weep and just go check and see what's maybe behind there. Nothing really to do over there quite yet. Or, sorry, float in behind the waterfall. I was thinking of something separate.
You just call King Zora a weeb?
No, King Weep. Isn't the noise that he makes.
I heard weeb as in weeaboo.
He is king of the fish people, so I mean maybe.
I mean he also is animated, so technically.
It's a big think. Yeah, Super Slide Teleport is honestly like one of the more complicated tricks to explain because there's so much going on at once.
And I think I remember seeing somebody do that in another randomizer, and I don't think it works if you have a strength upgrade.
It does not.
Because you can, because you can pick up the bush. So it's important that he, did all of Dodongo's Cavern without that strat.
Yeah. A scale in Zora's River, that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, with an early bomb bag, I mean, and that check is actually in logic as an adult too. So
yeah, sure.
But it's not going to help, I think, too much. There's, I think, one check that lets us. I don't know if we've seen that already, but Zora's Ruto's letter.
We have seen Ruto's letters. I believe Emily checked it, I want to say. But I didn't get to catch what it... Too grainy.
I think it was a rupee.
Okay. Yeah, and we've already seen the Iron Boots. Or, the Iron Boots grotto. And so the only possible use for that at this point would be diving, lab diving.
Alright, so Mike is opting to full clear Shadow Temple. Like, honestly, at this point, to see what the items he has, I think it's a smart choice.
I mean, definitely. The three are, the required items for Shadow are all given really early on, sub 1. Yeah, it's a really strong choice. Or it's really strongly inferred that something decent is going to be at Shadow.
I'm willing to bet that Nocturne was one of the early songs, probably with the Hero for Saria song.
Yeah.
Alright, so here we get to see Like Clip. If you hookshot in third person near an enemy, you just get boosted forward, and it just clips through walls, just like.
This is also commonly used in Ice Cavern, I believe. You can hookshot on ice enemies.
You can do that with the Iron Knuckle. You can do that with Iron Knuckles too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the base is behind the Naburu cutscene skip, which.
Mm-hmm.
MikeKat's taking advantage of the D-pad in the randomizer.
D-pad boots are so good for Shadow Temple because it just makes, like, especially in areas where you have to jump across gaps, it just makes it so convenient.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it probably was just the unpause lag and pause lag saving probably around a minute, maybe more, just in check.
It's
Not to mention
interesting.
water tempo.
It's interesting because in vanilla, you usually don't equip hover boost there. It's actually faster to just do the jumps. But with this, since you don't have to pause, you can just equip it. You can just spawn your hover boots right away and save time that way.
I mean, between hover boots and iron boots, like the iron boots makes iron boot swimming really easy too. So in some places like the toilet check and just in general water temple, like being able to just equip and unequip your iron boots makes things so easy.
Yeah, it makes the underwater check in GTG. It makes that a lot easier to do. It makes it a lot more tolerable to do.
Oh, yeah.
For those who are unfamiliar, the underwater check in Gerudo Training Grounds, where you need iron boots to get the silver rupees, and it also has shell blades and ice trap. That's what some people refer to as Ganon's toilet, for some reason.
I mean,
So
hence the emote.
Yeah, so that nickname just stuck because no one likes going there. But when you have to, it sucks.
Yeah, it's a pretty crappy check to have to get.
Badoots.
He cries on the inside.
Yeah, the Skulltula tokens aren't necessary. Not all of them are shuffled into the pool. Only the ones that are in dungeons are shuffled in the pool. So it's not as bad as it might seem, but it does create for some interesting scenario.
And by gosh, Emily got that red rupee.
Mike is having trouble with exploding the pods. Well, he's gonna opt to do the Deku strat. There we go. You want to drop the Chew on the 4th red flash. Like right as it turns red. Fully red.
Yeah, and he is running tight on shoes now, so he's going to want to be careful for the rest of the dungeon, because he doesn't need at least one.
I believe... Okay, so... Regardless of Quick Bongo Kill being out of the question because he lacks a bomb bag, is Quick Bongo Kill within settings for... Or within rule set?
Yes, it is. Because the randomizer build is based off of 1.0, so everyone has access to do it.
Okay.
The average length of these races seems to be between about 2.5 to maybe 4 hours. I think as the tournament goes on, we'll see times kind of drop as people get more and more used to the settings.
Yeah, so sometimes you see people getting times that are slower than accessible times, mostly because they're trying to go for like really hard sequence breaks, and they end up getting lost in logic and not. I wouldn't say not knowing where to go, but more so just falling behind because you miss out on checks that. You miss out on checks that you either should have gotten earlier within accessible rules, or you just didn't get the information because you skipped too many items.
Once you break the logic enough, it starts to kind of get flooded in your head of, wait, was that in logic? Because what you want to do is you want to read the logic. For example, MikeKatz got hover boots, hook shot, Din's fire, and magic all fairly quick in the seed. And so those are also coincide with stuff that you need to get into or to complete Shadow Temple. And so he read the logic there and went to Shadow Temple, and hopefully we'll find something good further in the dungeon. But stuff like that, if you start to sequence break, and if 3 of those things were all, somewhere that was in broken logic that required more items than you currently had, then there might not be that much stuff that's, decent or good of major items, or even way of the hero stuff. So the more you break logic, kind of the harder it is to figure out, well, where does the logic want me to go? Where could good thing, where could way of the hero items be?
It's a good thing Mike checked that Skulltula, but unfortunately doesn't have any bomb shoes. Wrong warping is not allowed in this tournament.
Nope. This is no I am the wrong warp, basically. Let me see if I can get a link to the rule set.
But yeah, that's one of the main reasons why Glitch Randomizer can be so difficult. It's because you're fighting the logic in both ways. So it comes to this debate on whether it's worth it to have a sequence break, or if you're better off doing mostly glitchless, but use the glitches to save time.
For example, MikeKatz was able to do all of Dodongo's cavern except for, King Dodongo. So, well, it wouldn't be allowed in accessible. Or would that strat be allowed in accessible?
No.
I guess it doesn't break anything.
Because
ground jumps are
actually, I think it probably would. It's just bomb shoes are never.
So pretend I didn't say that because I can't use that analogy anymore.
But yeah, it is very easy to kind of just get lost within a seed. And normally you want to try and just kind of take the sign or the items that you pick up as road marks.
Alright, so we have a Pona song and Zarya song. So that's interesting.
MikeKatz doing the other shadow early method, where if you hookshot that wall of Dampé's house on a certain frame in Link's stance change animation, where he kind of sways back and forth, it'll actually shoot you up onto the seam with a decently high velocity, enough to get you up onto the seam. You can then get ISG from that Poe right there if you release the Poe, and you can just side hop to the Shadow Temple.
Yeah, you jump over the trigger for like the door and everything kind of down there to load. So you can just side hop right through there. Although sometimes when you're learning it, you step low enough on the seam that you end up loading that, and that always feels bad, man.
Not that it would necessarily matter for Mike, considering he does have Dins and magic, but it's just a small time save.
But yeah, just in general, Mike is assuming that at some point he was going to pick up Nocturne. So he's just kind of like reading the logic and saying, well, I can do all the checks in here with the knowledge that I know, so I'm not going to miss anything. Why not full clear it, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the good approach for Glitch Randomizer. Is just kind of to set like certain go mode things for each dungeon. Not trying to like overly break the game, like trying to play low percent.
Yeah, definitely. If you have 4 out of the 5 or 3 out of the 4 items needed to beat a dungeon, but there's just, like 1 or 2 checks that don't need this, but then glitch strats to get those checks, It's probably still in logic. You just haven't gotten the checks to put it completely in. And it still might be a good idea to go there, and that's kind of what we see MikeKatz doing here.
I think the other 2 dungeons we had that were stones were Jabu-Jabu, and I think I saw a water temple.
I think I saw water temple
have to. So I think we do have to find a mirror shield at some point in this seed.
Unfortunately, water temple is still Way of the Hero.
Yep, the 2 Way of the Hero hints that I have written down are Sacred Forest Meadow and Water Temple.
Although the Way of the Hero could be a red herring, and it could be like something like
Lens.
Not lens, because that's only set to be required for chess mini game. But could be something like Rudo's letter to go to Ice Cavern or something. Well, you can skip Rudo's letter and glitch.
Yeah, have we gotten a hint for what's at Ocarina of Time yet?
No, we haven't.
So I guess that might be the other thing that we would see. The only thing is, so what's nice about the glitch rule set is that you don't get locked behind access to bottom of the well. It's always feels bad, man, when all dungeons is required simply because you need to get to bottom of the well.
The Weird Egg and Shadow Temple, oh my god. That is a hard read.
That's definitely not what we were kind of hoping to see from Shadow being so emphasized by logic, but nonetheless, it is a required dungeon, so. And it will spark Prelude cutscene.
Yeah, that'll give us access to, I guess, what's over at Lon Lon Ranch, as well as logical access over to Zelda. Emily's already gone and checked that, I believe.
So, for those of you who didn't quite get a look at Emily's at the pedestal, that's the word I'm trying to come up with. The required dungeons are Dodongos, which we've already seen, Forest, Fire, Shadow, and Spirit, placing the Kokiri Emerald and Jabu-Jabu, and the Sapphire and Water Temple. So that's even more insulting, considering that Water Temple is a stone dungeon and not actually, needed to beat the game.
Anyone else like Water Skulls?
I think that one's going to come up short on that one.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that we can abstain from the pain of having to do Iron Bootless Water Temple again. I don't want to wish that upon these runners.
It hurts so bad. No, that was actually a pretty cool glitch demonstration of some glitches that I didn't know existed, and some kind of on-the-fly, how can I get down to here?
Yeah, Water Temple is really broken for glitch.
Nintendo and specifically Zelda games in general have not been known to really manage water and water physics that well. For example, like in Breath of the Wild, there's an infinite sheet of water throughout the entire map. It's just pulled up and down depending on where you are on the map.
Yeah, it seems like it's always like water is always just a one continuous layer. So in Ocarina of Time, like wherever water is out of bounds, water is also on that like same Z-axis.
Yep.
Yeah.
Basically just water just extensively downwards. So I can use that to your advantage to just swim out of bounds everywhere.
For the most part, there are a few exceptions of where you don't want water to extend infinitely downward. like in Stack Temple's bottom of the well. I know has some. Yeah, basically Dika.
Forest Medallion, that gives him a song.
Yep, that'll give him Prelude. Or Prelude check. I don't think we actually know the song. Nope, checking my notes. Nope.
Yeah, so with that, Mike's halfway done with the dungeons he definitely needs to complete for this seed. We'll have to dip Water Temple at the very least, which won't be fun. But yeah, I mean, glitch logic sometimes lets you do some really interesting things. I feel like a lot of the times we see runners get to about 4 or 5 medallions and then get hard stuck by items and logic.
We still have yet to see light arrows, which isn't too horrible considering that we do have the Ganon. But definitely something we still need to find some better now than at the end of the seed.
Get Song of Time from Prelude check. That is not so fun.
Oh no, Emily, no. Oh, that always hurts to do. You want to equip hover boots, but it's already too late. Tracks, there are a few glitches that it expects that are listed, I believe, in the Imgur link that I sent earlier in chat of the settings. Stuff like fewer tunic requirements, where you can do stuff like get everything, but I believe it's basement column check in water without Zora's tunic. You can clear the first floor of Fire Temple without the Goron tunic. Kind of stuff like that. Let's see, Man on Roof without Hookshot. I believe it was MikeKatz did the setup to get that heart piece. That's vanilla on the roof on the roof. Let's see, entry to Zora's Domain with hover boots and Kekos. There's a whole bunch. If you want me to repost the Imgur link, I can.
Yeah, there aren't anything that I think would be considered hard glitches. No runner would be required to basically glitch the game, but there are certain things that we would consider tricks. So things that you wouldn't normally do in a playthrough of the game, but that are accessible enough and easy enough to do that most runners can be expected to pull it off.
Yeah. Because all Ocarina of Time Randomizer, and specifically detailed logic, is designed with glitchless or accessible in mind. And so some of the glitches that are some of the glitches that are programmed in the game to change and modify the logic are very, very easy and can be learned just with a simple Google search.
Fire Temple is barren, God bless.
Oh, where did we get that one?
It was a Gossip Stone in Kakiri Forest, where the Song of Storms grotto is.
Oh, I must have missed that one. Oh.
Yeah, so you can just safely go mode Fire Temple, thankfully.
Yeah, and besides having a tunic, and I guess no bombs necessarily, but he has everything he would normally need to glitch his way through that temple.
Here we're going to see a glitch by MikeKatz where you can backflip while pulling out the hookshot or a first-person item, and you can just backflip right over him. Again, more examples of Ocarina of Time not taking the Wind Waker approach to collision.
Yeah, and that is one of those tricks, I believe, that is just expected that runners can pull off. Even without, I think, even a first-person item, it's just expected that you can backflip over Mido at some point.
Yeah, there is a C-up method. If you backflip pretty quick after exiting C-up, it's just like spam. It's not precise at all. You can still backflip. You just have to make sure you're in the corner first.
Yeah, even out of unpause lag, the window or the trigger that normally pulls up text boxes isn't there right when you get out of unpause lag, so you can do things like backflips or side hops.
Oh yeah, I forgot that unpause lag stops text box.
Yeah, that was the main reason why pause buffering was developed.
Yes.
MikeKatz is using kind of the glitchless setup to get on top of the maze, since he doesn't really have a way to set up a real ground jump. It's a really neat trick that I think most people can learn. Saria's song at Ocarina of Time could be bad news bears as the seed progresses, depending on what item is locked either by Darunia or the Skull Kid.
Also depends on where Minuet is.
Bolero. Make for easy travel to Fire Temple. Oh, that's convenient. I always love it when you get like a Hyrule Field is Way of the Hero, and you're checking the Hyrule Field Grotto, and then you go open the chest, and it's like Hammer or something. Like you get a hint, and its product right after another.
Yeah, I've had it where I've crossed the desert and I got the hint right next to Spirit Temple. That Spirit Temple was barren. It's like, oh well, thanks.
That's hilarious, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know what you say, but Randomizer Generator has absolutely a sense of humor.
Yes, it has a tendency to like to kick you down to your knees and make you beg for mercy sometime.
Alright, so Emily is, since she's doing Shadow Temple without Dins, that means she's going to have to do a clip in order to get the checks in the last room, the Vanilla Bosque room. She's gonna use the readouts. She's gonna have to use the scream from the readouts to get through and open the chest.
Yeah, well, kind of similar to some cutscene stuff, or not cutscene stuff. What am I thinking of? No, Navi dives and random other cutscene dives. While in the Redead screaming animation, for some reason the walls don't actually damage Link, and he just kind of phases right through them.
Stability rate, basically.
Earthbender.
So Mike is opting to go mode Forest Temple, which is an interesting play. It's understandable since he doesn't have the bow, but
I mean,
there are some
check
checks.
like bow chest.
There are some chests available without the bow. Like you can check the courtyard checks. You can go up. Well, you can go up to the bow without a bomb bag, but it's pretty difficult. So I understand why Mike doesn't want to go deep into Forest Temple. It's a required dungeon, so I might as well just get the medallion out the way. But I think it would have been safe to at least check the courtyard chest or whatever before skipping the Phantom Ganon.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, he does have Song of Time, so there is a good part of the dungeon that is actually completely available to him at this point. So it is just interesting that he's going to make this play. And he doesn't have Minuet, so he can't necessarily come back here. Unless he just goes right back into the dungeon after beating Phantom Ganon.
That is a method we sometimes see, because the way that key logic works, sometimes you're forced to place a key in the heart piece. But instead we get the Goron sword.
Yeah, but there are only a few dungeons where the key would be on the boss. Stuff like Fire Temple, Water Temple, where the boss is technically accessible right from the beginning.
Like, I think we've had a seed before where the boss temple key for Fire Temple is like the first check that, you know, that somebody checks, or like the second or something. That's just immediately accessible once you walk into Fire Temple. And you can just, you know, beat Mawaja.
So Emily was trying to set up a different way to get up there. What MikeKatz did earlier was a hover boost, so he used damage recoil. Or not, I don't even think he used damage recoil. He might have super slid, but he used that way to get across the gap to get up to that Skulltula that you normally need the long shot to access. Emily looked like she was kind of clipping into the gate, and then she was going to try and ground jump up, but did not quite work out for her.
And she's opting to clear the rest of Shadow Temple, which is honestly a smart play, because you could potentially kill off yourself if you clip through the gate first. That key to the door. I've had that happen before.
The skill she was going for was the boss key, though. So if she doesn't know how to do boss key skip in here, which I assume she would, but you know that's not something that she might think of. And Mike Katz begins the game of how far do I have to go into Fire Temple to find my boss key?
Honestly, we should have a boss key guessing game for Fire Temple or Water Temple at this point, because that's like the most common theme in OOT Randomizer. Is like how early or late the Fire Temple or Water Temple boss key is.
Oh, here, I'll do this. If somebody can guess what item or I guess item makes Water Temple Way of the Hero, I'll give to that person. First person that answers that item. And I will take a screenshot of chat. Just for fun.
Fog Jam.
Because I set up a contest like this a little while ago, and nobody got it, because it was Gold Sculptula of River of, or what was it, the, where the light arrows
I think it was the river chest was the light arrows in Water Temple.
Or no, the contest was for Megaton Hammer that ended up being something out of the way. Rusted Shell, it wouldn't be Iron Boots because Iron Boots will forever be in logic to be in Water Temple. So Iron Boots couldn't be Way of the Hero for Iron.
Yeah, you need Iron Boots to enter Water Temple, so there's no way that Iron Boots would be in Water Temple.
Yeah, the items that could be in there, I think Strength Upgrade is a possible thing. Light Arrows is also definitely possible. We find the boss key. There we go.
Fast Fire Temple, let's go.
Always good.
God bless.
Okay, he does have a fairy. I was gonna say, yeah, you should probably get a fairy if he's trying to do Volvagia Tuniclus, but...
Hot take, Fire Temple's the worst adult dungeon.
Is that a hot take?
Yes, because people commonly say that's Water Temple. I think Fire Temple's worse.
I think with the right things in mind, Fire Temple could be good. I think with glitches, Fire Temple gets a lot better, but yeah, it's still not my favorite.
I disagree. I think Fire Temple, like even with glitches, I think Fire Temple's still very slow-paced and linear, and doesn't open much with glitches. Like the only thing that you can open with glitches is the boss key skip and the pit Goron check early.
Yeah, I guess there are a lot of one-off, logical, like, you need just some item for one check, like Hookshot to get Pierce check. There are a couple of those in Fire Temple that just make routing it into Randomizer a real pain, but I don't know if this is a PG-13 stream.
You know, deep fire is one of the most painful, I think, checks in Randomizer, just because fire can be completed right away, and a lot of the times the seed will let you complete it right away, but then something is locked deep inside the dungeon that, you know, makes you...
Of time? This is scary.
He's just gonna save warp out of the Volvagia fight. He realizes he does not have the time to complete that. And honestly, unless fire is water medallion, I don't think that there should necessarily be a huge hurry to complete this.
Because I know that the tracker doesn't actually have like a which medallions and which stones, or which which medallions and which stones correspond to which temple. I have a screenshot of, I believe it's Emily's menu list. I don't actually know the name.
Yeah, I think somebody was going to add that in, but maybe it just takes a little bit to get that implemented. But yeah, hopefully we get that, because it's super useful information.
Mike probably wanted to save his blue fire for King Zora, but then again, you could just unfreeze King Zora using the glitch, so it's not too high priority to keep your blue fire and glitch.
Yeah, he has Weird Egg, so I think he could still unthaw King Zora that way, or he could just use the sign if he knows that method.
He would have to use the sign because unless you do equip swap, though, you can't normally equip the Weird Egg. It's a child only.
Oh yeah, you're right.
See, if it was the Pocket Egg, then that'll be a different story.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we've seen MikeKatz do equip swap, I think a couple times? No, maybe just once to do the hammer. So we definitely know that that's a trick that he knows.
Yeah, I've actually never tried equipping child trade item as adult. Nor
Yeah, I don't
have
know
I
if
seen
he's
other people do.
Yeah, he does have DINs, so I think he'd be able to do it. There are some situations where you can't do it because of what you have or don't have.
MikeKatz is going to want to get on that platform before that timer expires.
Yeah, and he did pick up bigger on sword, so this fight's going to be a little bit easier. He's going to be able to, I think, 3-cycle it. It's interesting he didn't bother trying to use his chews. I know it's a strat where if you haven't practiced using chews on Volvagia, you don't really just want to like YOLO it in a race.
He definitely wants to save his bomb chews, especially since he doesn't have bomb bag yet. So it's an understandable option.
Emily showcasing how painful it is to do these fan rooms without iron boots.
It's painful when you fail it, but once you get it, it feels so good.
MikeKatz did it earlier with very little resistance. He did it pretty seamlessly. He must have gotten good RNG.
The room isn't RNG. It's set in a cycle. Yeah, based off of when you open the door and your camera's position when you look up the room. But yeah,
so you just got a good cycle.
Yeah, there is a glitchless basically way of doing that entire room without having to equip iron boots, which is really fast. But again, it takes practice, and it's not something that you would normally do.
Yeah, the cycle is consistent. It's just executing it is the difficult part.
There's our logical access into Shadow Temple at Bolero, so yeah, now everything that we did in Shadow is considered completely in logic.
Which means now Weird Egg is in logic as well as Cooker.
I will be right back.
We'll miss you.
So yeah, Mike picks up his 4th medallion. So now he's only got Spirit to complete, and he's also got 1 more done.
So we're definitely still looking for that mirror shield. And so Spirit and Forest are the are the 2 dungeons Mike needs to complete?
He completed Forest. So we must not... So he just needs to complete Spirit now. I was sitting there trying to think of what the other dungeon that he needed to complete was, but he's got 4. Yeah, he just needs to do Spirit.
I guess one of us just forgot to track it. Sadly, we don't have a tracker tonight. Commentators are running trackers, so multitasking is not exactly my strong.
No worries. I'm right there with you. We'll try and see next time he either saves or pauses and moves to that screen what medallion he's got water. Okay.
Yeah. He definitely completed Forest. Because we both saw him complete Forest, and everything else was tracked except for Spirit. So we are about, what, 1 mirror shield away from, and I guess strength upgrades, unless he knows the. He
does still need bow. We haven't found our bow or light arrows. Those are the 2 items outside of mirror shield that we definitely needed to pick up.
That's true. That slipped my mind for whatever reason.
But light arrows we can get a hint on, and we're kind of hoping that we find bow someplace along the way. Mike's gonna hover boost over to the Death Mountain crater. I think he sees something over there that he wants. Oh, and he finally picks up his bomb bag. Not the logical one, but that's still a good choice. I guess no bomb bag is necessarily logical with bomb shoes, but still.
Yep, bomb bag is a bomb bag.
Yeah, it does not feel bad to pick up a bomb bag.
It feels good, man. Yeah, I just noticed that Emily's file name is Moo.
Because the only other thing that we're really going to kind of wander around, because we can't necessarily get all the way to Ganon, because the boss key is still a required item for Ganon's tower.
But I do believe that that's only shuffled within Ganon's tower.
Yeah, we don't necessarily have to worry, but like, if you need to find the boss key and you don't know some of the really, really broken glitches to get around Ganon's tower, then chances are you're going to be stuck with. You might need another item to complete this.
For example, if you don't know the out of bounds thing to get into Light Trial.
Yeah, with bombs, with a bomb bag, the super slide to go into Light Trial becomes a lot easier. There's another way that I think we've seen with using bomb shoes and a damage boost. But like something like, say, Shadow Trial is going to be incredibly difficult if they don't find either a long shot or
a lens. Would also make it a little bit easier. But yeah, definitely a long shot.
Yeah, because either you know the Shadow Trial Hess, which is a difficult strat, or you know the hammer boost with Bomb Shoe Gainer, which is another difficult strat. So no matter how you look at it, if something's in Shadow Trial.
And here we get in the Graveyard as well hint that corresponds to the hookshot that they both got from Crit HP in Graveyard.
Yeah, hookshot and I think hover boots were also in
they were
Shield Grave.
That's right. Yep, Shield Grave.
So yeah, both incredibly useful items.
Once you use the redead to clip out outside of those things, it still closes in and it still voids out. So showing off some cool tricks there in the meantime.
And this time the redead doesn't want to scream at us, you know, right when only time where you really want it to.
Yeah.
I think it is interesting that Emily did choose to come into Shadow before going over to Dodongo's Cavern when she's got more logical access to that. Not a bad choice, just you know, in the grand scheme of things, going into Dodongo's cavern would make this entire trip a lot easier for her. Little does she know.
Alright, I'm gonna have to sign off. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the race.
And I hope you have a fantastic night.
Good luck with the race, Pasher, and thank you for helping us out. Everybody, go give Pasher a follow. There you go at twitch.tv/Pasher_.
Oh, and MikeKatz picks up double magic from down in the composer's graves. That's a useful pickup.
Not necessarily, you know, required for anything, but definitely a quality of life thing. Especially if you don't know, like, quick Ganon.
Yeah, it definitely gives them a little bit of safety for the rest of the seed. You don't have to necessarily worry about running out of magic, especially in a place like Spirit Temple. If you go to Spirit Temple entirely as an adult, it's very easy to run out of magic because you need to use Dins so often.
Yes. As well as it makes for really easy rupee farming if that ever becomes something that might be necessary. Some people don't know this, but I guess we would need the bow for that, but and light arrows.
Yeah, Mike Mike goes and checks his inventory and sees that he has got the medallions required to do the Kakariko burning cutscene. So he goes and picks up Sun Song from that. He realizes he can do one more check while he's here.
Sun Song grave. How convenient. Mike is not quite in go mode. We're still looking for mirror shield, bow, and of course lighter. As well as maybe a strength upgrade, depending on Mike's knowledge of different glitches he can do to get into.
Yeah, I would think that he knows how to super slide into Spirit Temple. That's a relatively straightforward trick. But yeah, if we do have to go into, say, like Light Trial or something, then tricks become, you know, it depends on what categories you've done.
We also still do know that Water Temple is Way of the Hero, so we might be looking for Iron Boots just for convenience. Knowing that he doesn't have the necessary things to beat Water Temple or even logically access Water Temple, he might be putting that off. Both of the runners might be putting that off until they do have Iron Boots.
Yeah, depending on your comfort, like level of comfort with glitches, and because Way of the Hero hints can be so baity, trying to waste the time to go into Water Temple without logical access, it can be a painful time. So Mike is opting to go back to being a child. He's probably gonna go turn in his. He hasn't quite hatched his weird egg yet, so we'll see what all he chooses to do while he's a child again. Equip swaps hammer though, so that's already interesting.
Second time we've seen that equip swap with hammer, and Emily's gonna go turn in her 20 gold Skulltulus. Ooh, strength upgrade.
Yeah. Right now, MikeKatz is our leader for this seed, but there is quite a few items that he still needs to find in order to finish this seed. And logically speaking, those items could be in a lot of places right now because we've broken this. Yeah, equip swaps are really interesting glitch. There are some really cool properties to it. Basically, if you hover over an item that you want to equip, and then you switch back to the inventory screen, and you have basically a frame-perfect input to try and equip another item, you'll be able to equip items as a child that you normally can only do as an adult, and vice versa. And it also creates some really interesting character models.
It is a very difficult trick. It's actually 1 frame out of 30 frames per second. Normally, gameplay runs at 20 frames per second, but it actually switches over to 30 frames per second in the menu screen. So it's a higher frame rate, which makes frame-perfect tricks a lot harder, as well as the fact that you cannot pause buffer tricks on the menu screen. Because, to pause, you need to cycle the menu screen. And you can't do that if you're trying to do something on the menu screen.
Yeah, we heard that you needed to pause buffer equip swap, so we gave your pause menu a pause menu.
Insert link as pause here.
Yeah, you can see that he pulls out the hammer there, but there is no model of young Link holding the hammer, so he just kind of holds nothing and swings nothing, and it breaks the rock. The hammer's still there. It's just Link, for some reason, young Link can't pull it out. It works the same way with the adult and the boomerang.
There's no actual character model or character animation of him doing that, of holding the item, so it just doesn't. The same way, if you don't have the Ocarina and you pull out the Fairy Ocarina as adult Link, it defaults to the Ocarina of Time, because the adult Link doesn't have an animation or a model for the Fairy Ocarina.
Yeah, so he uses the hammer to get ISG there, and it's just interesting to see that there's nothing in his hands again, but he's got ISG, and you can see like the sword effects. He uses that to walk up this seam that normally is very difficult to walk up if you don't have the right angle. So that way he can skip all the guard. Unfortunately, he has Sun Song, so he can just kind of skip having to hatch his chicken the normal way and put it on overdrive.
Emily using the roundabout method of going to check that gold skull alternatively to moving the statue. She could also just see up after shooting a bomb shoe at it.
Yeah, it seems like Mike is using the equip swap hammer basically as a makeshift Kakiri sword right now. So he's trying to do this jump slash to kind of skip pushing the boxes all the way. But the hammer has a little bit more recoil than the sword does, so he just kind of gets bounced off there. Then he realizes that he's got 30 sticks right now, so he doesn't have to. Well, he's got a recoiling off there, but he doesn't have to necessarily worry about that.
There he goes.
Yeah, the jump slash frame for that is a lot later than he thought it was.
Now, if my memory serves me, over on the right side with Emily, I believe this gold spatula is just a bloopy. So this will be a disappointment for her to find out.
Yeah, Mike checked it using a bomb shoe, which was an interesting strat. But yeah, she's gonna kind of go here the manual. Yeah, but just throwing a bomb shoe up there, he was able to kill the Skulltula. He did the same thing over the stairs, which is a good strat, I think, for this dungeon, the Skull Sanity. Okay, and that's Minuet from Zelda. So normally you weren't supposed to be able to access Forest Temple until you got the egg to be able to check Zelda.
Emily finally getting Din's Fire. Still lacking that magic, though. That is definitely way of the... I know one of them is in the chest in Composer's Grave. I'm not sure where the other one was, the first one that Mike got.
I want to say it was either the chest before King Dodongo or it was on King Dodongo, but it was somewhere in DC. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I couldn't remember if it was King Dodongo or the chest, or the followable chest on Trail.
And Mike does pick up his 20th Skulltula, so he's going to be able to check what's on 20 skulls, and that's the last thing I believe that we need for this seed.
Correct, it is a strength upgrade.
Alan gives us our Serenade of Water, so that's a useful warp song for when we have to go back there later as an adult. Makes things a little bit easier, and I think there's also a setup to click into Water Temple using the position you get from Serenade, so that'll be used night.
It does rely on the water level being down. Special Hell, we know that 50, 40, 30, 10 gold Skulltulas are all useless. 20 is a strength upgrade. Other than that, we know that Water Temple is Way of the Hero. And Mike is only one dungeon away from being able to open the Rainbow Bridge. That's what I'm trying to say.
So Mike picking up his opponent's song there. The other song that we got, I think, was Song of Time from Sheik. Or no, wait, was it Bolero? I think it was. So most likely I'm thinking that Epona song is going to be our Way of the Hero hint for here, which means that most likely either we have to go through the desert or there's an item in GTG.
It definitely puts GTG in logic, which could be. But then again, we don't have Boomerang, so... Oh, I'm thinking of... Sorry, song. Epona song. We have Epona song. Sorry, I played a C today where my my Epona song was Ocarina of Time.
That feels bad, man.
They're all blending together.
Yeah, now from here on, he's probably just going to clean up a lot of the checks that he missed as a child because he went adult very early on. Gets shorted by the scrub. Doesn't have 40 rupees right now.
I don't think it is anything of importance, if I remember. I believe Emily got it when she did. She did a fairly elongated Child 1 section.
Yeah, and we've discussed this where it's very possible, and what a lot of people are thinking is that with glitch randomizers, you kind of want to try and stay child and do a lot of checks early, just because going adult super early kind of pigeonholes you into doing a lot of things or trying to sequence break too much. Of course, Emily didn't necessarily find anything particularly useful as a child, besides a bomb bag, which Mike managed to pick up from Death Mountain Crater anyway.
That right there's a ground jump. That is a method to kind of get to some vertical height by trying to grab a bomb while shielding. It's a really, really easy trick. and by doing that, when the next time you backflip, side flip, or side hop, not side flip, backflip, side hop, and I think just those two, it'll actually give you, oh, and jump slash, it'll give you vertical velocity.
Yeah, but it's an interesting state because Link can't pull out items while he has a ground jump stored. Emily trying to get the switch trick that we were talking about earlier, and she's not having a good time with it either.
That is a frame perfect trick for a trick that really only saves a few seconds.
Yeah, and she ends up pushing the block anyway, so yeah, nothing really of use, I guess. Just a little bit of a... I mean, if you go for it, you get it, you save time, and if you don't, then it's like, oh, well. MikeKatz failed it the first 1 or 2 times, too, so...
Or 4 or 5. He spent quite a while on that trick. He eventually got it, though. I'll give him props for it. Hey, there's your magic.
Yeah, so now everything that Emily kind of did in Shadow Temple makes a lot more sense, logically speaking. She's kind of thinking like, okay, well, you know, I didn't necessarily break the game too hard.
And here we can see the only Dodongo fight in this scene to have used actual bomb.
Yeah, she actually does have her strength upgrade, it seems. She's picking up those bomb flowers, so makes it a lot easier.
Strength upgrade was, I believe, 20 gold skulltulas. And I forgot to mark it on the tracker.
Yeah, tracking and commentating, it's a lot more difficult than people might. Mike farming his rupees to go check that scrub one more time, just to make sure that it's not anything important. But yeah, chances are we're just going to see these runners kind of go over the checks that each one has done so far. Whether or not Emily makes it as far as MikeKatz does is up to what glitches she knows or is willing to do. We've kind of discussed that, you know, in general, you don't necessarily want to break the seed really hard because you get really logic locked behind. And Emily trying to set up a 2-bomb super slide there. 2-bomb super slides are relatively easier to do than, say, like 1-bomb super slides or Hesses, because it increases the window from like a 2-frame window to like 5 or 6 for you to roll into the bomb and try and pick. Yeah, whether or not it's better to glitch the game or to play through it relatively glitchless is kind of the philosophical question we're answering with this No I Am Wrong Orb tournament. Is to try and see exactly what runners are the most successful with getting far into these seeds. Over on MikeKat's stream, we see him use a ledge clip. So if you Z target on the same frame that Link, or on the very first frame that Link grabs a ledge, you can clip inside that ledge, and then once you let go, you're basically inside. That's used to usually clip into things like Song of Time blocks, or especially here in Lake Hylia. It's just used in general to kind of get into the area where you can swim to the water, so you can just swim right into Water Temple.
He just barely made that loading zone too. He was about to clip out. Or clip back in.
Yeah, and he's going to use another ledge clip here to clip out of bounds. And I think we saw another runner do this, but some people choose to, say, cutscene dive. Other people will kind of clip out of bounds, and then they'll leave the water area so they can like lower themselves, and then they'll fall into another zone. Yeah, he is making the play to try and see what he can find in here, why Water Temple is a way of the hero. Which I'll be interested to see how far into this temple he goes before he gets frustrated, because it is a very difficult temple to do without iron boots. If you're an optimistic rando runner, you want the item to be somewhere in maybe this first column of checks, or somewhere where he can get it to easier. If you're more sadistic rando watcher, then you want it to be like on the river chest or something.
Cynics. Yeah, but definitely we've quite often seen Water Temple be the troll of different seeds. It always feels like it's going great, and then just ends up being really, really rough.
Yeah, it finds boss key right away, so if he does choose to make the play to try and, say, go around and complete all the stone dungeons and pick up that Serious song, it becomes a much less painful thing overall, unless we never find Boomerang.
It could also be, with boss key bidding really early in the dungeon, it could also mean that something might be in Heart Piece.
That's true as well, yeah. If not a small key, maybe just, yeah, like there could be an item just right on Morph.
Yeah, so either way, I think it would be beneficial, if not required, for him to beat Morpha. Oh, but we might see.
Oh no!
Oh! 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 It hurts! No! Oh!
So, Water Temple being on the way of the hero and finding Rudo's letter, what I'm hoping this means is that we need to go and do Ice Cavern, which is very easy to do. He doesn't even have to go child to turn that letter in. He could just clip behind. Alternatively, it could mean that this is in fact all dungeons, and that we need to go do Jabu. Emily here looks like she's setting up a weird shot. So what she's going to do is she's trying to basically clip underground to kind of like detach Link's hitbox from his actor. And what that's going to let her do is hook shot the chest from underground where there's no like collision, and then kind of skip having to go around. And she does get it. So yeah, she's going to hook shot that chest and be able to open it. She doesn't have to go fight the flare dancer or anything.
I had to go tell a Pasher. He's mad.
Yeah, there's still a possibility there's another item in here that makes it way of the hero, which I think MikeKatz is sitting there and he's like, no, that can't be the reason why this is way of the hero. There's got to be another item here. Don't you dare.
Oh man, he doesn't want to believe it. He's in disbelief. Alright, well, I think I have come to the end of my match. I've got to go. I have a prior engagement. Ryan, are you okay to take it just by yourself? I feel bad for leaving, but I've got to...
I'll do my very best, sir.
Alright. Well, thank you, and I hope you all have a nice day.
Alright, well, I'll be here solo commentating, seems, for the rest of the night, if not for a little while. We did see that we did have a hint that Fire Temple is a barren dungeon. What those hints mean is that there is no real reason to check anything other than getting the boss key in the dungeon. None of the chests will have any progression-related items. So now that Emily does have the boss key, I think she went and just she just went around because she didn't necessarily want to try and maybe save warp or something like that. But yeah, she's just gonna go straight to the boss, go fight him. Not exactly sure why she's gonna go check some more chests in here. Maybe for safety. Maybe she didn't see the hint that Fire Temple is barren. But other than that, yeah, she's hopefully just gonna go straight for Volvagia. If she's gonna go check things in this dungeon, she must have missed that hint. Yeah, the progression she wants to find right now, it ain't here. It's we know that there is nothing important in this dungeon, and we know that there's nothing important on any more skull checks. She does have 20 skulls already, so there is nothing else necessarily important here. I suppose it is possible maybe that the out of logic bow is in here. That would be an incredibly big play for her to make, but there's no reason why we should be checking anything else in this dungeon. Over on MikeKat's stream, we're going to be seeing him. Looks like he's going to try and unthaw King Zora first here. By side hopping up here and reading the sign on the right place, you'll be able to kind of set a flag that'll deload King Zora the next time that you come in here. If he does this right, he's going to side hop back down here, and when he comes back up the stairs, King Zora will no longer be frozen. You can do this trick either with the sign. The sign is a little bit more difficult to do. Otherwise, you can do it with an adult trading sequence item. But it just has to be a text box. I think those two work. I don't know if Navi text... If you do get Navi, it might work, but you can't always guarantee that you'll get Navi right there. So Mike's going to go run around the lake here. He's going to go check and see what's over on the glacier. Just some bomb chews. Going to go check and see what's at the fairy fountain. And then probably go dip ice cavern. I don't believe you can see what's at the bottom of the lake very easily from up here. If you can dive down, you might be able to make it out. But there is a possibility that the item that we need over here, the reason why Ruto's letter was Way of the Hero, is at the bottom of the lake. Who knows? Yeah, Emily is going to continue on through fire, so unless there is some kind of item that would kind of escape the grasp of the Baron hint, she's not going to find anything in here, and it's just going to end up costing her a lot of time, unfortunately. But sometimes you don't pick up the hints. Some people aren't aggressive hint farmers. Hints will almost always pay off. At least Baron hints will always pay off if you manage to find them before you go into the dungeon. Hopefully she doesn't find the hint after she does this dungeon, or else it's going to be a very painful realization for her. And Emily going to do a nice clip out of bounds here using a bomb. Using the camera angle you get from jumping over that chasm, you can kind of just press up on the analog stick and press Z target, and that'll give you the right angle that you need to walk right up there and pull a bomb. And once the bomb explodes, you just kind of hold left, and Link will jump all the way into that pit, so you don't necessarily have to go all the way around the dungeon. So Mike does choose to dip into Ice Cavern. We'll have to see what might be in here. He's going to go check on all the Skulltulas. There are quite a few checks throughout this dungeon. It's a relatively quick dungeon, but with skulls, it just does take just a little bit more time. I'll be interested to see if there is progression in here, because if there isn't, then we know that the reason why Ruto's letter was Way of the Hero was to either complete or go into Jabu, or it's still at the bottom of the lake, which we didn't quite get to see. But Jabu is a stone dungeon, so we don't necessarily know if we have to complete it. There might just be an item in there, or the seed is requiring us to get Saria's song because there's something locked behind Darunia or the Skull Kid. We did get a hint that Ocarina of Time's song check was going to be Saria's song, so we do find Boomerang in here. So right now, what this is leading me to believe is that all dungeons is required and Saria's song is required. It is possible that's not exactly the reason why, but there is a decent chance at the moment that doing all dungeons and getting Saria's song is the progression that the seed wants you to do. That would be the absolute meanest option. It would be really nice if we didn't have to necessarily go and dip those dungeons. And it's also possible that that only leads us to an item that we were supposed to have, not necessarily an item that we need. Find the prescription, also an ice cavern. Must have had a hint that told us that Big Ron didn't necessarily have anything important. Yeah, Mike's going to try and get through Ice Cavern as painlessly as possible, the rest of Ice Cavern, just to see if there is any other item in here. It is possible that the Boomerang is the item that we needed to pick up in here. It's also still possible that there's something maybe early on in Jabu-Jabu. I'm really interested to see where this seed's going from this point, because now that we've picked up these items, the seed just became a lot more painful. Meanwhile, Emily Brooks still going through Fire Temple. Hasn't necessarily found anything that would make it interesting, so that Baron Hint is kind of owning up to its name. But Ice Cavern has a lot of very interesting strats that can make it relatively fast. Obviously, you can use ground jumps to skip a lot of the block pushing in this room. There are also a couple of very specific jumps that you can do. That lets you kind of jump off the ledge, but using ice physics, Link will then proceed to jump back up, and he'll get vertical height that lets him kind of jump onto some of those ledges. So the other thing that this could be is that the song that's here at Serenade Check, there could be, if it's Requiem, then there could be something, say, at the top of Desert Colossus. If it's Song of Storms, then maybe there's a grotto, and maybe Boomerang isn't necessarily our important thing from this dungeon. MikeKatz does pick up Requiem, which is going to be really helpful for the rest of this seed. Being able to just warp over to Spirit Temple once he finds Mirror Shield is a lot nicer of an option. And we'll have to see if he save warps and chooses to try and enter Jabu as an adult, or go back to being a kid. Entering Jabu as an adult is a trick that not maybe everybody has practiced. It does require a couple of very specific inputs. He has bombs, so it's a little bit easier, but he has that option available to him. He is going to save warp out of Ice Cavern, so we'll see what he chooses to do. He does have Boomerang equip swapped right now, so with that, it leads me to believe that he's going to try and glitch on into Jabu-Jabu's belly as an now, basically, the loading zone for Jabu-Jabu still exists there as an adult, but they've kind of covered it up using this big ice glacier, essentially. So what he's going to do is he's going to use a bomb, and he's going to basically try and do a mega side hop on a very specific frame. And then he's going to equip his hover boots, do a jump slash, unequip his hover boots, and re-equip them. Probably not in that exact order. It's been a while since I've done this. But using the slipperiness of the ice as well as the hover boots, he's going to be able to kind of clip into the glacier and hit the Jabu-Jabu loading zone as an adult. And unfortunately, Emily doesn't necessarily find anything in this dungeon other than a couple of Skulltula tokens, and we know that she doesn't need any more Skulltula tokens than what she already has. So she does end up full clearing this dungeon despite it being barren, which leads me to believe that she either forgot about the hint or she never found the Fire Temple as barren. So an interesting part about this Jabu-Jabu trick as an adult is that there is mandatory pause buffering. What the pauses do is that every time that you pause, the following frame does not have ice physics. So Link is essentially able to kind of... The glitch requires that you do certain pauses right there. He does get it. It's a very interesting glitch when you finally get it. It's really cool to watch. It's more tedious than it is difficult just because of the mandatory pauses. And also, if you over-pause it, then the glitch doesn't work either because of that same reason that you don't get the ice physics. So Mike is going to choose to go into this dungeon and try and maybe full clear it just to see if there's anything important in here or if it's required simply because you need to clear. He finds his first strength upgrade, so maybe that's the reason why you need to come into Jabu-Jabu's belly. That's kind of what he's hoping. He knows that there's also another strength upgrade that's at 20 skulls, so now he does have logical access to Spirit Temple, but he's still going to be looking for his Mirror Shield for a little while because he needs that to be able to complete Spirit Temple. And I would say that if I were in MikeKat's position, I would probably still end up full clearing this dungeon. I think it's the best option right now just because you won't have to come back here and you won't have to go back to being a child again until you need to go pick up maybe Saria's song. There is a possibility that the reason you need to come in here was just for the strength upgrade, but it's also very possible that we do need that Saria's song that we're going to have to go back and complete Water Temple for, as well as completing Jabu-Jabu. There are still another 3 chests that are in here, and as well as the Baronade fight and the Gold Skulltula, so there's a total of 5 checks that we could still find in here that could have important items. Alternatively, if he wanted to, he could just go use hover boots and go straight to Baronade, but he is opting to just full clear this dungeon. It's relatively fast to do. From this point, once he clears out these rooms, he doesn't necessarily have to go fight the big Octo at all. He can just equip Hover Boot. Meanwhile, Emily left the Volvagia fight to go pick up some more hearts, so she's going to kind of try and come back in here. The Volvagia fight with a relatively low number of hearts does make it difficult, especially if you don't have a fairy to fall back on. And she also hasn't completed Forest Temple. We know that Bigoron Sword is at Phantom Ganon, so it makes this dungeon a little bit longer to do, and the fight becomes a lot tighter without the Goron Tunic. And Emily is going to take advantage of Volvagia's second hitbox. Basically, below this dungeon, like the first time that you bring out Volvagia, he still has a hitbox that's kind of below the rest of the fighting stage. So she's able to hit that hitbox by dropping bombs in the bottom left-hand corner of that very first hole. And so long as she never actually hits Volvagia besides stunning him, or her, Volvagia is able to kind of be one-cycled in essence, so you don't have to worry about Volvagia flying above the stage, and it makes the fight a little bit faster, especially when you don't have Goron Tunic. It gives you a lot better of a window. And we did find our logical Goron Tunic inside Jabu, so that makes what we did in Fire Temple a little bit more in logic. Since there was nothing necessarily important at Fire Temple, completing it early didn't give Mike any benefit other than he was there, so he got it accomplished, so he doesn't have to worry about coming back. But considering that what MikeKatz has found over here with dip into Water Temple and then subsequently Ice Cavern and Jabu-Jabu, Emily's got a long way to climb back in this seed before she kind of catches. Although the items that Mike has found haven't been particularly useful as of yet, because you can complete Spirit Temple without any kind of strength upgrade. But having the strength upgrades makes things a lot easier and kind of gives you the comfort of knowing that the Way of the Hero checks that you found, you know what those are. Because knowing that Water Temple is on the Way of the Hero, there's a good chance that Emily will not skip Water Temple. If she does choose to skip all this sequence of checks and nothing necessarily important, so the bow, light arrows, or mirror shield isn't on this sequence of checks, then Emily has a chance to come back into the seed, definitely. And the compass from Baronade then kind of cuts out the fact that, or the idea that maybe Mirror Shield was going to be in here. So from here, MikeKatz is probably going to go turn in his skulls, and then hopefully he's going to go over to, say, GTG or Spirit Temple. There is a chance that maybe he goes back into Water Temple and goes and just fights Morpha, because he can just hover over to the Morpha fight and boss key skip. Actually, I think the very first chest of Water Temple was the boss key, so he would just have to hover over to Morpha. But that would be banking on the idea that maybe Serious Song is important. And because Serious Song is only going to unlock 2 checks for us, I don't think that's going to be on the top of his list of priorities quite yet. It looks like Mike's trying to set up a way to, I mean, looks like he's going to try and weird shot past King Zora here. And I think, honestly, if I were MikeKatz, I would just warp out of here, because there's not anything necessarily over in the Zora's domain area. So there's not necessarily a reason he should be trying to get past King Zora right now. Emily's going to swim down, so there's a chance that right now she's going to go and clip into Ice Cavern. She doesn't necessarily have the same hints that Mike has had at this point. She tries to hover past, doesn't quite, I think, have the right angle set up there. But she's making this check more blind than Mike did. Mike at least had Rudo's letter at the time, so he knew that maybe there was a reason that the seed's going to lead him over here. But Emily's going to make the play that she's going into Ice Cavern and checking it almost completely blind right now. So this gives her a chance to try and make up some time. Yeah, she's going to unthaw King Zora. So she does have blue fire, so maybe that's the reason why she thinks she can come up here. Well, I'll have to see if she decides to clip into Ice Cavern after unthawing King Zora. I think it's the best play right now for her. And yeah, she is going to set up the glitch there. So if you Z-target that little pillar right there, you get the right angle. You just kind of go into this corner and jump slash. And a lot of angles in this game are made so that with the speed that Link gets from jump slashing, he can just actually clip behind that corner. There are a number of different places that you can do that on. I guess Mike never checked... Oh, he never checked Adult Zora's River. So he's going to go pick... Okay, no, he's going to warp... He's just going to get that hint and warp over... Yeah, he's going to go do Spirit Temple now. We go over to the fairy fountain here, try and check and see what's on there. Probably go and try and clear as much of Spirit Temple as he possibly can. Maybe making the play to see if Mirror Shield isn't in there, maybe in its vanilla location or French vanilla whenever you find an item that's not quite... It's in the same dungeon, but not quite the same chest. Mike gonna try and check and see what's on top of the Colossus. One of the best places to check what's on top of there is over by the Gossip Stone that's in the corner. You get a lot better view. Although now that it's turning nighttime, it's going to be incredibly difficult to see what's on top of there. And there's that same Sacred Forest meadow is on the way of the hero. So you can see something up there. Can't quite make it out from MikeKat's stream. Looks like it might be something important. So with hover boots and with bombs, you can actually skip having silver gauntlets here, and you can just kind of super slide past that silver block. You can also set up a super slide to get into child side, so he doesn't necessarily have to come back here as a child either. But you can see there that he drops 2 bombs to kind of set up a super slide here. And then he's going to equip hover boots and release his shield. And that's going to let him clip out of bounds here. And using the momentum from the super slide, he's able to kind of get around the silver block. Or at least around the collision. And then he does a backflip by pulling hook shot. And that lets him kind of clip into the block. And that way you can skip pushing the silver block. He also doesn't have silver gauntlets right now. He knows where his other strength upgrade is, but he opts not to take the time to go pick it up. And he gets a big chest here, very first chest of Spirit Temple, so we'll have to see what this item is. And it's a troll ice chest. That's going to be unfortunate. I was really hoping that was going to be an important item. Emily uses another ledge clip there, so she just presses Z target on the same frame that Link first grabs the ledge. Unfortunately, she voids out, but she was trying to use that to try and get around the red ice. Yeah, there is quite a bit that Mike can actually check here in Spirit Temple without having the Mirror Shield. He is going to be locked out of, I believe, 2 chests, as well as whatever item is going to be on Twin Road. But he's going to be able to go and check the rest of this dungeon, and it is a good idea to try and prioritize dungeons in which you are progression. Even if maybe you don't have the way to complete that dungeon, he's still going to be able to check most of what's in Spirit Temple. It looks like he's going to drop a bomb there, and he's going to just kind of... Well, he's going to try and death warp back to the beginning of the dungeon, but he gets trolled by picking up a heartbeat. So unfortunately, he decides to save warp out of the dungeon. He doesn't find a key in those first 2 chests, so he's essentially locked out of the adult side of Spirit Temple. So if you set up the same super slide that you set up on the adult side, you can actually just go and clip into child side as well. And the rule set for this tournament, just to let you know, since there was a question asked in chat, it is no item manipulation or wrong warping, which means tricks like Gim or like RBA or wrong warps in general are all banned. Those tricks are considered to be breaking the central philosophy of Randomizer. So we choose to ban those tricks instead. Gim is a trick that's relatively difficult to explain how it's done, but it's used in any percent in order to get a bottle without leaving the Deku Tree. It's also can be used in Forest Temple to pick up light arrows. I think it can be used in Deku Tree to also pick up light arrows. So it's a trick that lets you pick up items that normally you wouldn't find. And so any trick that basically lets you get items when you're not supposed to breaks the philosophy of Randomizer. So Emily's about to pick up her boomerang, and we'll have to see if she decides to make the same play that Mike did and glitch her way into Jabu-Jabu's belly, or if she's going to maybe be sitting here and thinking, well, okay, what's this supposed to mean? Mike's over in Child Side Spirit right now. He's going to try and pick up a key in these first couple of checks here, because he didn't pick up one on the adult side. And I'll be interested to see. He should then, from there, he'll go back into the adult side and just go up the normal way. And I'll see if he decides to clear more of the child side. He does have double magic, so he's able to use Stin's Fire to light all the torches. Normally you need fire arrows, or you need to be Child Link to light those torches. So he's choosing to set up entrance point glitch right now. And what he's going to do, so basically by opening a door and equipping hover boots on the very first frame that Link starts to get recoiled from the door, you can open the door but actually not go through it the proper way. And that lets you reset where you spawn in the room. So he uses that, and he clips out of bound using the torch. And basically what that allowed him to do is skip that crawl space there, because when he respawned back in the room after voiding out, he was kind of out of bounds, and he was able to just jump over to this platform. So he does choose to stay on the child side of Spirit Temple. It's not necessarily a bad play. Either way, he did this. Depending on what your glitch knowledge is, you could do it this way, or you could just super slide back into the adult side. And Emily, they're showing kind of one of the glitchless strats. So when Link side hops on ice, he still kind of has, he doesn't necessarily just fall straight off. If you hold forward after Link starts to fall off the ledge, he'll kind of do a jump as if he were jumping off of a ledge straight on. And she uses that to skip having to either ground jump or pushing the blocks to get up to that platform. Ice physics in this game are generally very broken. So she's going to pick up her Requiem as well from here, and we'll see if she decides to go, say, into Spirit Temple, like MikeKatz is right now, or MikeKatz also opted, before he went into Spirit Temple, she's actually going to warp over to Spirit Temple, yeah, so she's not going to do Jabu as an adult, which means she's going to miss that strength upgrade. Again, not a necessary item. We can skip most of the requirements that strength upgrades give us. But this is another decision that might end up saving her time in the long run. The other two commentators who were here had to leave for prior engagements, so me, Rain, I am your one commentator for right now. So Mike does get another big chest in here. We'll have to see what this item is. See, it's another ice trap. This is the most troll Spirit Temple I think I've seen in a long time. You can see that the dungeon map is there on that Skulltula, so you don't have to worry about anything there. But yeah, this Spirit Temple not giving great items, not giving us the progression that we really want right now. Mike is desperately searching for a Mirror Shield. He still does need bow and light arrows, but Mirror Shield would be the one thing that lets us complete this dungeon in one trip, right? Now we do already have the boss key, so when we come back to this dungeon, and the boss key it's a suggestion again, like you don't necessarily need the boss key to complete this dungeon using glitches, but still, when he comes back here, he's going to be able to finish this dungeon relatively fast, although the two Mirror Shield checks in this dungeon are very deep in the dungeon, so if the, say, bow is hidden behind the Mirror Shield here in Spirit Temple, it could be a very painful ride to come back up here. Or say light arrows. Light arrows could also be locked somewhere in here. And Emily is going to opt to kind of come in here. She does glitch into the child side of Spirit Temple. So she's going to basically, not necessarily, she's two dungeons behind MikeKatz right now, but opting to skip Jabu, as well as skipping the dive into Water Temple. If she never does those checks, she has a really big chance right now to catch back up to Mike. So we see a big chest. Is this vanilla mirror shield? It's a third ice trap in Spirit Temple. That is the third ice trap in here. That is ridiculous. I cannot believe this Spirit Temple and how troll it's being. This Spirit Temple is playing on MikeKat's desire to find progression in here, and it has given him 3 big chests that have all been ice trapped. So MikeKatz, he has one more check to kind of do in here before he has to dip out. He's going to go check the vanilla boss key location. After that, he really has no other way of getting any more checks in this dungeon. He doesn't even have the option of lowering the platform because he does not have Mirror Shield right now. So skipping having it's another big chest, and it's just bomb shoes. So that's unfortunate. This Spirit Temple has had 4 big chests, and none of them have been the progression that these runners need right now. And Twin Rova is one of the bosses in this dungeon that does require a very specific item to beat. If MikeKatz doesn't have Mirror Shield, there's no way to possibly damage Twin Rova. So right now, I think the best play for MikeKatz, he's going to jump down to this platform, but there's not really anything that he can do. And I think he's just now going to realize that he doesn't have Mirror Shield. There's no way to lower this platform. Maybe he takes a second there to kind of, realize the mistake that he made in pushing and doing all that extra work. But I think the best play for him logically right now is to try and hit up GTG or go complete Water Temple. GTG has it's a very check dense location. There's something like 12 or 13 possible items that could be in Gerudo Training Grounds right. He also does have a Pona song, so that's his logical entry over into Gerudo Training Grounds. So that would be the best play. I think he's going to go check the one other chest that's over on Child Side Spirit. He could see that the chest that's in the hand, which is normally Silver Gauntlets, was a small chest, but there's still the one chest that's in this torch room that could still be an important item. So after doing Child Side Spirit and picking up the one small key over there, Emily is going to choose to go do Adult Side. So she's probably not going to use Entrance Point Glitch at all. She kind of just did the dungeon almost the vanilla way. But she, unfortunately, is going to get trolled by these same chests that Mike did. And Mike is still going to end up opening up this room, so he's going to go check the chest that's over on the hand, I guess, anyway. I suppose there is still the Skulltula that's over here too. That is right, but so he chose to save warp out of here. Maybe he's going to go and do Reversed Wasteland, try and get over to DTG. Either that, or he might warp over to, say, Serenade, and then pick up Epona. Oh, and he does need to pick up the song from here too, and that gives us a Song of Storms. That's a few more checks that we can do to see if there's anything important. Emily gets out of bounds there, and she goes because she doesn't have Song of Time right now. She hasn't done all the same checks that Mike does. She has to do another way of trying to get around these Song of Time blocks. So Mike is going to opt to navigate the wasteland in reverse to try and get to Gerudo Fortress. This is probably the fastest choice right now because he would have to go either break Epona out using a hover, or he'd have to choose to kind of just hover boost over Gerudo Valley. So I think this is the fastest choice, other than the fact that he just voided out. Reverse Wasteland is difficult because a lot of the flags that you know that you choose to navigate the wasteland with, trying to find them going the other direction is a completely different experience. I have no doubt that both of these runners can navigate the wasteland forward without lens very easily, but in reverse sometimes it's a different way of doing it. Emily's still farming Skulltulas, so she must not have gotten the same hints that Mike Katz has gotten at this point in the seed. She is going to choose to recoil boost her way into the Ganon's Castle Fair. So by pausing on the frame that Link starts to recoil from crouch stabbing a wall, you can preserve that momentum when you equip hover boots, and that kind of lets you clip out of bounds and then clip through the block that you normally need gold gauntlets with. So Emily taking a moment to kind of pause there and maybe recollect herself, realize what she needs to do, maybe take a look around. I believe I saw she does have another medallion in her inventory that I haven't marked down quite yet. She hasn't chose to go into Forest Temple quite yet. Based on what items that the runners have right now, I think Spirit or Forest Temple, doing a clear of Forest Temple would be a good choice up to the point where you get the bow. Because when Mike Katz went and visited Forest Temple, he skipped a lot of the temple. He basically went almost straight to Phantom Ganon. So there are a lot of items over there that are in logic to pick up because we have Hookshot and because we have Minuet. And a strength upgrade, so everything up to the point where you pick up the bow is completely in logic. She doesn't have Song of Time, I suppose, but there's a place that she should be able to pick that up. I think Song of Time was from turning in the green coin for Prelude. So if she did that, she would have Song of Time, and then maybe she would have a more logical reason to go clear Forest Temple. Mike's gonna go turn in. He's gonna go check adult fishing. This could be an interesting check because Hookshot was relatively early in this seed, so there's a decent enough chance that this could be something important. The way that randomizer logic normally works is that items that are low priority, so the less items you need to get something, the greater a chance that it's going to be progression. And for your reference for fishing, the very first fish that's basically on the left side of the lake, almost always is the fish that, or pretty much every time, is the fish that you can catch to try and turn in. So right when you come in and you just turn left and you kind of throw your line out, you're going to get a fish that'll work for the purpose of the fishing minigame. Looks like Emily's going to super slide over to Lake Hylia, so we might see the runners going and checking the same things right now. Mike's going to go check and see what's on the top of the lab. We'll see if Emily chooses to make her dip into Water Temple now, or if she's just going to go and do these same 2 checks. Top of the lab is just a recovery heart, so this this check over here is kind of useless. Mike's looking like he's going to set up House Clip, so it's another way to kind of get into Water Temple. I think he is going to make the gamble that Water Temple is required, and this is an all dungeon seed for Serious Song. Basically, with the right setup there, getting the right angle, you can just kind of backflip, and Link will just clip directly into the house. And inside the house, for some reason, they didn't put collision in the floor. Don't know how the professor stays in there just fine. He must be on the right place. But that lets Link clip out of bounds and into the water plane. And then from there, he can just swim back into Water Temple. So we saw MikeKatz use another way to clip out of bounds earlier. This, the house clip is probably the easiest way, in all honesty. But you can also do a ledge clip. There's just a bunch of different ways. Lake Hylia is busted. So Mike's going to clip out of bounds here in Water Temple to try and get around. He doesn't have iron boots right now, so a lot of this stuff that's in here is kind of out of logic to get. He's going to set up a weird shot here so he can skip the kind of the block pushing puzzle, I suppose. But yeah, there's a lot of ways that you can get around Water Temple without having iron boots. Again, a lot of places that have water are incredibly busted. And so he gets that weird shot that lets him clip out of bounds. It's just going to let him get a small key. Lets him navigate around the dungeon, I guess, a little bit. You do need normally about 4 small keys to navigate around the entirety of Water Temple. There are 2 keys that you can basically skip. You never have to unlock the door that's in the center pillar, and you never have to unlock the door that normally lets you get back up to the 3rd level. So Emily does pick up that Song of Time. I'll be interested to see if that leads her over to Forest Temple. I think that's the best play for her to make right now, because she does need to complete Forest Temple. Forest Temple would catch her back up to MikeKatz, but she's going to go back to being a child, and I'm wondering if she's going to go do Jabu right now. She's gonna go turn in the weird egg, it looks like, and maybe go check and see what's at the lake or the castle ferry as well. Not necessarily anything interesting to us because we've seen these checks before, but still things that she needs to get out of the way just to make sure that she's on logic. So using the right angle here in Water Temple, if you're right up next to the wall, you can kind of hookshot that target. And what that's going to let Mike do is he's not going to have to kind of raise the water level the normal way to get up to this very top level or go through the door. Having a little bit of difficulty finding the right angle, but once you get that hookshot, you can just literally you can just jump slash after you get to the top there, and you'll land on the platform. And he's gonna set up a hover boost here to get over this door without raising the water level. So ideally, he's going to be able to get up the door and unlock it before his hovers run out. And this just skips raising the water level up to the very top level. It's very fast to do, but if he doesn't get this, which he's pause buffering just to make sure he does get it, fine. But normally raising the water level doesn't take that much time. And Mike is going to use ISG. So one of the properties of ISG that makes it really useful in a lot of different places is that you can't fall off ledges while you have ISG going. Link just won't run off the ledge at all because he's swinging his sword like infinitely. ISG it stands for Infinite Sword Glitch. So essentially, if you interrupt a crouch stab with either an animation like picking up a bomb, or you interrupt a crouch stab with something like, or with a text box. So like he got it off Navi there, so he Z targeted the keys and pressed C up, and that got Navi. That'll kind of never set the flag to say Link has stopped swinging his sword, so he'll just continue swinging his sword forever. That's usually whenever you see the weird glowy effect that Link's sword has after they do a crouch stab, that's them using ISG. And ISG can be used to do damage, it can be used to do hovers, used a lot of different places. If I see the runners do something specific involving ISG, I'll mention it. I won't bother going over everything right now. This game's pedestal item is the song that's locked behind Ocarina of Time. So in order to pick up Ocarina of Time and the song, you need to complete the 3 stone dungeons, which for us right now is Jabu-Jabu and Water Temple. MikeKatz actually has completed Jabu-Jabu, so I'll kind of mark that on the tracker here. But we did get a hint that told us that Saria's Song is locked behind Ocarina of Time. Saria's Song does let us pick up 2 more items, so there is a decent possibility right now that this is an all dungeon seed. It's hard to know 100% because neither runner really wants to make the play to go pick up Saria's Song. MikeKatz is the closest. He's going through Water Temple right now. Whether or not he fights Morpha at the end of this is up to him. I think that since he's in here, it would be the best play to make, just in case. But of course, he doesn't know where Emily Brooks is right now, and she doesn't know where he is right now, and so they don't know exactly how far ahead or behind they are, and they don't want to make a play like that that could be incredibly time-consuming. So Mike here is going to use a ledge clip to kind of clip behind this block without raising the water. How he's going to get out of bounds from here is a good question. He just uses bomb recoil to kind of clip himself out of bounds. So he's going to try and drop down to the lowest level of this and then get into that one room. Normally you would need iron boots to do this check, but with proper glitch knowledge, you're able to kind of get down. But he does need the room down there to load, and so he has to pass through a certain point in that hallway to make the room load. If he doesn't do that, he doesn't know, he can't get the chest, he doesn't know where the chest is, and the chest isn't there. So he needs to make sure that he falls out of bounds low enough that he can get in, but without clipping inbounds, because if he clips inbounds, he's kind of stuck down there. But yeah, he's having some difficulties hitting that flag that loads the rooms that are down there. Interesting thing about Ocarina of Time is that even when you're out of bounds, all the loads hitbox, or all the room's hitboxes are still there. However, the room's collision, or the actual like actors in the rooms, so chests and whatnot, might not actually be loaded. He does clip in bounds, unfortunately. So he's not going to be able to do what he wanted to down here. It looks like he's going to save and quit out. But basically, he was trying to hit the load trigger for the room, stay out of bounds, and then he's just going to try and swim inbounds into the room where the chest is down there and check and see what's there. But it's an incredibly difficult trick, and if you're not practiced on it, it's not going to be fun to try and execute in a race set. So now it looks like he's going over to where the vanilla boss key location is. There's also another Skulltula that's over here. Probably what he's just going to do is, he's just going to use hover boots, backflip over those spikes. It's a really quick way to get through that room. But he has to do a lot of interesting things in this dungeon, because right now he doesn't have long shot, doesn't have iron boots. The only reason he might be full clearing Water Temple right now is because we got a hint that Water Temple was considered Way of the Hero. And what Way of the Hero hints mean is that they point to locations that have important items in them. Items that the game thinks that you need to beat the game. And he's desperately looking right now for his bow, his light arrows, and his mirror shield. Those are the three things that Mike needs to complete this seed guaranteed. Realized he got all the way to the boss key door, and he didn't have another key to open that up, so that feels bad, man. Yeah, honestly, if I were in MikeKat's position right now, I would just go do Morpha and worry about maybe coming back here later. I think he's really trying to sequence break just to make sure that there's not any other progression in this dungeon. When I think that right now GTG would be an incredibly good play for him, just because it is check dense, and he can do most, if not all, of the checks there with the current items that he has. The only items that he would really be missing would be the toilet check, which would require iron boots again. And he also hasn't picked up his other strength upgrade, so he can't get to the silver block room the normal way. He can glitch around the block. Emily's just going to clean up a couple more of these early on checks that she might have missed or gone through because she had progression. Both both players are pretty much searching for the same items right now. Emily has not decided to go into Forest Temple as an adult yet, which I think would be the best choice for her to make right now. And I think that Mike Katz has forgotten about most of Forest Temple as well. There's a lot in Forest Temple that's in logic right now. Actually, Forest Temple might be a better choice to make than GTG, because Mike Katz essentially did the boss key skip right away, did not bother going through the remainder of the dungeon. Again, sometimes the glitches that these players can do end up with them skipping logical and important checks. Mike Katz and Emily also both have Song of Storms right now. So Emily opting to check frogs, and maybe she's going to go check bottom of the well too. So this is one of those uses of ISG that I mentioned earlier. Mike here is setting up a hover. So with ISG, one of the properties is that you can't necessarily fall off ledges, and it kind of works the same way with bomb recoil. By doing these backflips with these shoes, they're going to explode when Mike sets them down, because he has that property of ISG where he's swinging his sword infinitely. And with that, he can do these backflips, and while he's backflipping, if he shields the damage from the chew, Link will he'll kind of stick there, and he'll be able to set up a hover, which kind of lets him get vertical height. And so he uses that to skip having to go to the Song of Time block. And he also uses another ledge clip to kind of clip, so he doesn't have to worry about picking up, or he doesn't have to worry about swimming down through that room. Normally you would hit the switch that's in the dragon's mouth and swim down, but because he doesn't have iron boots, that trick can be a little bit more difficult. He also doesn't have bow, so he can't just hit that switch really easily. Okay. Emily here is going to be setting up a cutscene dive, so she gets ISG off of the sign, so she crouch stabs with a stick, and then cancels that by reading the sign. And she's going to pick up a cuckoo. This is a trick that I like to call Fireball Chicken, because she has ISG, she's got this, she's basically hitting this chicken over and over again. And when she sets the chicken down and backflips, the chicken's going to get really angry. He's going to set off this cutscene that normally happens when you hit the chickens too much. And in the middle of a cutscene, Link doesn't have collision through water, so she'll fall to the bottom of the well, and then once the cutscene's over, she can just walk or swim her way into the dungeon. She has Song of Storms, so she could have just played the song, but this is a little bit faster. But meanwhile, Mike Katz is continuing to try and break the game as much as possible to get these last couple of checks. I think that he's using up a lot of time. I hope that it pays off for him, but it's giving Emily a really good chance here to kind of catch up. But Emily keeps on checking all of the small chests. One of the settings that these runners have decided to turn on for this tournament is that chest contents match the size of the chest. So we know that important items are only going to be in big chests. And because she already has all the skulls that she needs, she doesn't need to open up these small chests anymore. There's not going to be anything important in these small chests. And we know that small key chests are going to look like really small big key chests. So either she doesn't have practice with the settings, she's looking for an item that I'm not sure exactly what she might be looking for, or she's just going through muscle memory. So what Emily's trying to do here is she's going to skip lighting the torch. Normally you would light the torch to open up these graves, but with the boomerang, if you throw it out there and then you kind of do some side hops here, if the boomerang passes through the hitbox of whatever's in that that coffin, it'll pull it to you. You can also use that to grab the whatever's at the vanilla heart piece that's in the graveyard if you have boomerang. It's a really neat trick. It's useful in a couple different places. Saves a little bit of time if you get it first try. And we do see a big chest down here in bottom of the well. Let's see if this is an important item for us. And it's another. I believe the last 4 or 5 big chests that we have seen here on the commentary side have all been ice traps. So even I'm getting trolled at this point. I'm wanting to find that item that we're missing right now, and we just keep getting trolled. There's another big chest down here in bottom of the well, and this is actually our bow. Our bow is in bottom of the well. Okay, so to me, this signals Emily that she's going to probably leave here and she's going to go maybe over to Forest Temple and go complete that, and that'll put her even with MikeKatz. But MikeKatz gets rewarded for he finds the mirror shield in bottom of the well. No, in Water Temple, sorry. He's got Mirror Shield in Water Temple. It looks like it was in the long shot location. So it's relatively deep there in Water Temple. So MikeKatz, he's going to go complete Spirit Temple now. He's going to go and probably go try and talk to Ganon if he can get over to where Ganon's at. Of course, we still do need to find the boss key someplace in Ganon's tower in order to get up to Ganon. But this race just became a whole lot more interesting because both of these runners have found important items that each one needs in different dungeons. Oh, it was in the vanilla boss key chest, sorry. So vanilla boss key chest is not too difficult to get over to. Both runners have hover boots, so you can get over to that chest without too much struggle. MikeKatz is going to finish off Morpha 2 while he's here. Now that he's kind of found that last item that was down here. So that's probably the reason why Water Temple was Way of the Hero. We did get a little bit baited early on in the seed because we also found Rudo's letter here. If nothing is at Serious, or if nothing requires Serious Song, which I think what MikeKatz is going to do, is going to try and go talk to Ganon and see if Ganon will tell us where those light arrows are. But yeah, this seed just became a whole lot more interesting. If there's another bow someplace out there that's in MikeKatz's way, then chances are he's got a very good chance at pulling off with the seed. But if the only bow that's accessible to these runners right now is in bottom of the well, it's probably going to be a while before MikeKatz comes down here. So Mike's picked up his 3rd stone, so if he wanted to, he's probably going to go complete Spirit Temple right now. But if he chooses to afterwards, he can go then pick up the Ocarina of Time, pick up Serious Song, and then maybe do a couple more checks. I'm thinking that the bottle, the Ruto's letter in Water Temple was just a bait hint. Very easy to get baited by that. I'm wondering if Emily does get baited by that too. But of the 4 possible items that are in Water Temple, not counting what's shuffled in with the Skulltula pool, we had 2 major possible progression items. It's a novel day for Water Temple, because Water Temple almost always the last dungeon you do in a seed, and it never has anything important in it. The other interesting thing about this Water Temple is that chest is locked behind long shots. There's a long shot somewhere in this seed that these runners are supposed to find. MikeKatz realizes that he went through Child Side to get to the top of Spirit Temple, so he's not going to be able to just kind of go through the normal. Emily finds our Stone of Agony, not necessarily a very useful item in this version of Ocarina of Time Randomizer. Speaking of the long shot's also in bottom of the. So Emily now has the signs that point her to go into, say, Water Temple, and she's going to be able to pick up that mirror shield, I think, a lot easier than MikeKatz was. But she still does have to glitch into there because she doesn't have iron boots right now. And she would need to be able to clip out of bounds or cutscene dive so that she could get down to the bottom of Water Temple and lower the water so that she's able to go and get to the boss key chest. So it all depends on what exactly Emily's comfort with these with some glitches are. Alright, so now armed with the long shot and the bow, Emily does choose to go into Forest Temple. She should be able to complete this dungeon really fast. Ideally, she doesn't do much of the dungeon, and she just does the boss key skip right away too. But it's hard to say exactly what she's going to choose to do. She's still looking for a couple of major items, and she doesn't know where those items are. So I think that it would be a smart decision for her to go full clear this dungeon. We know that there's not going to be anything important in here, but she doesn't necessarily know. She is going to clear a little bit more of this temple before she does anything. If she leaves this room and she goes over to like the Song of Time block and everything, then we know that there's a pretty good chance that she's going to full clear this dungeon. Normally, if you're going to boss key skip after leaving kind of like this Stalfos area. But right now, the only thing that MikeKatz is really missing is going to be his bow. He'll get a hint eventually for where light arrows are, and that's going to help him out. But the bow is going to be an item that he's going to have to look around, and chances are he's going to have to look around for quite a while. That's a big chest in Forest Temple. And Emily finds her third bomb bag. So she's sitting on max bombs right now. She's probably not going to have to worry about explosives for the remainder of the season. Meanwhile, MikeKatz clearing his Nabooru fight really fast. Gonna go into Twinrova. Twinrova, the only really troll thing about Twinrova in Randomizer is that the opening cutscene doesn't play. So normally when you get right up to this platform, Twinrova starts firing at you immediately, and it can make it very difficult to hit her on the very first shot. And another big chest in Forest Temple. And it's a seed bag upgrade. So far, Forest Temple not giving us anything particularly interesting. It looks like MikeKatz skipped a lot of junk. Still quite a few checks to do. Emily is going to use a damage boost here. So by pausing and equipping your hover boots on the right frame, which is kind of like the second frame here that Link starts to jump off the ledge, you can preserve the kind of damage momentum and jump up to this ledge here, so you can skip a decent portion of the temple. And you can also skip using a small key this way, which might help out a little bit. MikeKatz making pretty quick work of the first phase of Twinrova, going into the second phase. Overall, it's a fairly easy fight. The only thing that's going to be relatively difficult, sometimes when you have Big Goron Sword, you forget to put that away before you start going into the second phase. And if you have Big Goron Sword out, you can't really shield the attacks of Twinrova. But the nice thing about Big Goron Sword is that it only takes 3 jump / power or crouch stabs in order to kill Twinrova with Big Goron Sword. So, quick fight. MikeKatz picks up his last medallion. He's going to go probably heading to Ganon's tower now. Depending on where boss key is, he should be able to kind of go up and check and see. Ganon will let us know exactly where our light arrows are hiding. The unfortunate thing about Ocarina of Time Randomizer is it's not like A Link to the Past where you can skip those silver arrows. You need light arrows to be able to do anything to the first phase of Ganondorf. Now, if we allowed wrong warps, you could wrong warp to the point where Ganondorf is already dead, but that's not an option. So, in order to do damage to the first phase of Ganondorf, you need those light arrows. The question is, though, where is the Ganon boss key? Depending on where that boss key is, this trip through Ganon's tower could be relatively difficult. We need the boss key. It's not like the accessible rule set where we have fast Ganon's tower where the boss key is already unlocked. We need to find that somewhere, and it could be anywhere in any of the trials, or it could be vanilla. So MikeKatz is going to assume that the boss key isn't vanilla right now, and he's going to go and try and... He's going to make quick work of the spirit trial. There's 2 chests in here that he can pick up. First one just gives us a small key. And then there is one invisible chest here in the second part of this room, which is a big chest. And it's the Kakiri sword hiding in Ganon's tower. Ganon wanted to try and prevent Link from fighting him so much that he hit his first weapon in his own tower. So for light trial, you can kind of just do a quick little super slide here, and that'll let you get past this block. And we do see that the that the boss key is right there in that chest there on the right. Gee, I wonder which chest it could be. And he kills the enemy just so he could spawn that last chest and see if maybe it was another big chest. Still looking for his light arrows and still looking for his bow right now. So maybe he's going to clear a little bit more of Ganon's tower before making the climb. He does find a big chest. And it's the gold scale, so there's our other diving upgrade. So there's still a lot of locations that are open up to us that could still have light arrows or our bow. So somewhere along the line, MikeKatz must have picked up his other scale. I must have missed it. Doing tracking and commentary all at once. 2 big chests in water trial. This is interesting. We pick up double defense. That's going to be nice for MikeKatz. Not necessarily necessary, but still nice to pick up. And the light arrows. So now he's just bow locked to the end of the seed. He needs the bow right now. Wherever, he's hoping that there's a bow somewhere in here, but we'll have to see. But yeah, light arrows being in Ganon's castle gives everything's starting to look a little bit more bleak for Emily right now. She's still got to go clear a lot of water temple to find that mirror shield, and she's still just in forest temple. So Mike is going to set up a super slide here over to that first torch, and then he's probably going to maybe light the torch with Din's fire. There's the way to get through this room without any kind of fire source is incredibly difficult. So at least he can go halfway. Yeah, so he skips having to do the really hard strategies to get through Shadow Trial because he does have Din's fire, so that's nice enough. Oh, and he almost falls at the very end, but manages to get back up. And that's a big chest. So right now he's hoping that he can kind of maybe just hookshot back up there. Trying to get as much distance as possible. I think with the setup that he has, he can get really close with hookshot extension. Yeah, there he does. Just on the corner. And he finds a bow in Shadow Trial. Holy, he has the... This is incredibly lucky for him. Oh my goodness. So So the logic of the game is that a lot of the times there are going to be upgrades for items that are hidden in Ganon's tower. Normally there's like one upgrade or maybe two that are out there, and then Ganon's tower will have something like one of the quiver upgrades. That's not his logical bow by any means. He was supposed to find the bow that's in bottom of the well, or maybe there's another one out there. But he gets such incredible luck here in the Shadow Trial and Water Trial, finding light arrows and bow. He's in go mode. He's going to be able to finish this seed really soon here. So he'll make quick work at the Stalfos, he'll make quick work of the Iron Knuckles. He's got the Biggoron sword, so he's able to, you know, basically go through this, cutting through all the enemies like... I will say that Biggoron Sword does kind of make the fight against Iron Knuckles a little bit more difficult, because you will knock their armor off when they have their backs turned to you, and whenever they do that, they immediately swing around and take a swing at you, so that can make that fight a little bit more difficult. But still, a very incredibly fortunate Ganon's Tower climb for MikeKatz. Finds the last two items that he's been missing. He hasn't had the bow all seed. With the glitch knowledge that he had, he was able to skip a good enough portion of the game that he didn't need to necessarily pick up that bow. Emily Brooks is going to show that she can do this boss key skip. I think the right play was to try and full clear Forest Temple. But Mike, with just a little bit more glitch knowledge and skipping a couple of checks that Emily did, he was able to make it to the end of the seed. Incredibly fortunate for him, and unfortunate for Emily, and unfortunate for us out here that this race, we are going to come up on the very last stretches of it. I'm sure that you all wanted to see a little bit more Randomizer, but a very fortunate find for MikeKatz here. Emily going to clear up her medallion for Forest Temple. She still is in need of going into Water Temple to pick up that mirror shield before she would get to the end of the seed. I mean, this seed was interesting enough that it was a strong enough bait for all dungeons. We found Rudo's letter in what we thought was Way of the Hero Water Temple. We came back and we found Mirror Shield down there. So a very impressive read from Mike to go and find that Mirror Shield down in Water Temple, and to have the wherewithal to keep at it and try and get his way through that. So Mike using power crouch taps here against Ganon. So the Master Sword is the only weapon that does maximum damage against Ganon, as well as sticks, but you can't normally equip sticks as an adult, and that trick is Wii VC only. So if you jump slash with the Master Sword, you can crouch stab with the hammer, and it'll do Master Sword damage, and that makes the first phase of Ganon only take 3 hits. It's incredibly fast. And then MikeKatz picks up his Master Sword, makes quick work of the second phase of Ganon. Zelda's going to stun him on down, and we're going to do this final blow. GG to MikeKatz. Very well played, Seed, despite it being incredibly troll for the most part of it. And he gets that final hit onto Ganon. We've slain the pig. He took a little bit to hit the timer stop on it, but about 5:25:20 was the time that I saw at the end of the seed. So GG, well played to him. Overall, I mean, a very, very interesting seed. There was a lot of things that the seed wanted these runners to do that they didn't necessarily have to do because of these glitches. I'd be interested to see the spoiler log for this seed and see if all dungeons was required if you're going to play this seed glitchlessly. I can't think of any items that would necessarily be locked behind there. But I do not have the chat room pulled up, so I'm not necessarily able to. I came into this race a little bit late. Normally I would be in the SRL chat room to talk to these runners. Try and see if I can't find a way to get MikeKatz in here for a quick little interview and see how they're feeling about this. But yeah, we have yet to find Iron Boots. We went all the way through Water Temple without having any kind of Iron Boot. But yeah, I mean, Emily had found her long shot, so we know the way that you're supposed to get through or get over to Water Temple. But yeah, Iron Boots had to have been someplace that we missed ways back, because there's getting all the way through Water Temple to pick up Mirror Shield. It was not supposed to be the way that these runners did it by any means. I'll see if I can get MikeKatz in here real quick to talk with us about how the seed went for him. Yeah, it's still a very incredibly troll seed. I think we still have a couple questions about this seed, where the logical iron boots are hiding. It's kind of hard to say. Obviously, there was nothing really logical hidden behind Saria's song, so this wasn't necessarily an all dungeon seed, like it was looking about 2 hours or an hour and a half into this seed. The tracker is a little bit bare just because I've missed quite a few things, but I think I've picked up most of the important checks that these runners have done. Looks like Emily's going to try and pick up this Skulltula that's over here. She's still farming Skulltulas, so she must have missed the hints. Or she's gonna do adult trade quest. Yeah, I'm not sure if we picked up a hint for adult trading sequence. I'm really wondering on exactly if there was a hint. I must have missed it. I kind of came into this seed a little bit late, missing some of the initial hints. She's got 40 skulls. Yeah, she's going to use a hookshot clip. So kind of hookshotting at the top of a ladder will kind of clip you out of bounds a little bit. And using that, we can hit the loading zone for Lake Hylia, so we don't necessarily have to go all the way around. It saves a lot of time from the normal way of getting around here. Yeah, hopefully maybe Emily will find us our iron boots here, and we can clear up that question of where those were supposed to be, because by no means was this seed played the way that it was meant to. But I think glitches kind of saved us a lot of time. Trying to think of some of the places that we would have had to go logically that would have been me. So when you get the eye drops, one of the things that you can do is if you warp into the Death Mountain crater, it takes when you don't have Goron Tunic, the timer that normally kills you with heat takes precedence over the eye drops timer. So you can warp into that area and then kind of go all the way up here. And if you manage to get to Bigoron fast enough, then like the timer will be set to 1 second, because that's normally what it's set to when you warp song. And that way you're able to turn in the eye drops without having to make the long trek from Lake Hylia all the way over here. Emily's going back into Fire Temple. This is a barren dungeon.
I'm not sure what she's missing or what she thinks she's gonna find in here. But this is not the right play to be making at the moment, unfortunately. Yeah, wherever these... I think the biggest item that she needs right now is going to be iron boots. I'm not sure if she's willing to make the dip into Water Temple without iron boots. Logically speaking, it's the play to do. Most of the time, you're not going to be able to find items without some really heavy glitches in Water Temple. But at this point, the only place that I can think that would have our iron boots at right now would be GTG. That's the one place that neither of these runners has checked. And she didn't have, I guess, Scarecrow song when she came in here, so she's thinking that there's going to be something up here at the Scarecrow song check. There's also another Skulltula or two that's up here, so that's what's weighing on her mind, that there might still be something in here. There was, in fact, a hint, though, that Fire Temple is barren. So, unfortunately, she missed that hint, and she's double dipping into Fire Temple at this point. So there is another race that's going to be starting here in about 10 minutes, so I'm going to be signing off here. Emily's going to probably keep on playing this seed. Follow both of these runners. These runners are incredibly talented people. They both have showed a lot of mastery of these glitches and of Randomizer. I've been Rain. I'm also Mbop on Twitch. Our other two commentators, Apasher and Squiddy, they were here for the beginning of the seed. Thank you all so much for watching. There will be more races, I believe, later on this week. I want to say that there's another race set up for Saturday. There is also the accessible qualifier tournaments going on. So there's a lot of Randomizer on Twitch for you guys to watch. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I appreciate it. Follow Speed Gaming, follow the runners. Have a fantastic night, everybody. And enjoy the next race that's coming up.